whenever there's an episodic series, you can bet two men will talk to you. AJ Talon and Owen Finch give their thoughts on Owen and AJ Talks.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Owen and AJ Talks. I'm Owen Finch, and I'm here with
AJ Talon, and today, for 2 days in a row, we're on a streak. It's YellowJackets Season 2, Episode 2, a.k.a. the episode that really should have been the premiere, honestly.
And speaking of that, we're actually making history here. This has never really happened before. I'm rendering and editing the season premiere as we're doing this. So this is...
Yeah, your poor laptop is like, please...
Yeah.
The YellowJackets character is freezing while your laptop is on fire.
Yeah.
Your laptop is Jackie right now.
Yeah. Hey, I mean, that's not, too out of the realm of possibility, because, in the show, they had to pretend to be freezing, but they're on a soundstage, and they were really hot as hell, so it's like,
Yeah, he said that last time, that was pretty funny.
Yeah, so it's just kind of funny, it's the reverse of that, where, like, they're freezing as hell, and my laptop's heating up and everything like that, so...
Well, wherever Hobby is, again, Hobby's in the nearby town. Hobby is, nice and warm and toasty. He's like, I feel like, am I forgetting something?
Yeah.
Am I forgetting? Oh, nah, couldn't be.
But yeah, let's do episode 2. Yeah, like you said, this really should have been the season premiere. I think we talked about this last video, but I'll just talk about it again. It seems like this has been the trend for YellowJackets, because it seems like episode 2 is always better than episode 1. It seems like the season premiere is always, disappoint. Well, I can't really say that for episode 1 of YellowJackets, because obviously there was really no... You really couldn't get...
I think the premiere of season 1 served it. Bingo, shut up. I think the premiere of season 1 served a better purpose, showing what we're like before the crash, showing that sense of normalcy before shit hits the fan. Whereas I think season 2 was like the plane crash and like how everything just went horribly wrong. Whereas I think this, we thought episode 1 was okay.
Yeah.
We gave like a B-, C+, but this one was like easily so much better. And honestly, I feel like you could have put like the plot points from episode 1 in this episode. Like you could have made it work,
Yeah, and I think I said this before. I think because episodes 1 and 2 came out roughly a few days away from each other, they kind of put a lot of their eggs in the basket in episode 2 because they weren't going to release another episode for like another week. So like, okay, we're gonna make episode 2 the episode to talk about and everything like that type of thing. Because I'm pretty sure I watched episodes 1 and 2 roughly like a few days away from each other. But let's talk about it, though. But yeah, so this episode is called Edible Complex, which I think is a fitting episode name. We'll talk about why it's the name of it.
Because they got high, Again, they're taking the mushrooms again.
Yeah. This episode was directed by Ben... Seminoff, and it was written by Jonathan Lisco. No wikis, though. They don't get wikis. That's how that but, they deserve wikis after what they did in this episode. They should have gotten wikis. So, do you remember the air date?
Yeah, it's April 2nd, 2021.
What?
Or 22.
No, still on, 23.
Oh, right. Fucking, goddamn, I forgot they... Yeah. Because season 1 was 2021, yeah.
Yeah. So, I'll still give it. I don't know. I feel like I won't be a complete douche. I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you because I think you got robbed. I think you got robbed in one of the episodes where the air date was fucked. So like, I'll give you this one.
Because the notes say 2021. So I keep thinking like that's because it's set in 2021, but I keep thinking that's like when it came out.
I know it's weird because they say it's present day because it kind of was back then, but now it's kind of like Breaking Bad when originally it like fit because it was 2008, but then by the time it got 2013, they were at like 2010, so they were like a few years behind type of thing. So just weird how time works sometimes. But yeah, I feel like we're going to switch off this time. Last episode, you talked about the past and I talked about the present because there was more things you wanted to talk about and you had to get a lot of things off your chest. This time we're going to reverse it. Well, I'm going to talk about the past and you're going to talk about the present. So, nice little reversal right there. Because again, we're not going to do the same thing because the past was very connected, but all the stories for the most part meshed up. Even though they kind of break off into some stories at the end, they kind of all come together. So there's not really enough to really where we can break it off and all that type of stuff. I will say, as much as I like the present, the past is definitely more neater than the present. It's easier to follow along with what's going on in the past, I think.
But it's also the because they're all stuck in a cabin essentially. Like there's not, aside from Natalie and Travis, there's like the only plot point that is diverging because they will like go off.
But yeah, what's kind of been going on in the past? We got to ask that question. Those are
directed and wrote this episode.
Yeah, I did. Remember I said they didn't get wikis?
Oh. Sorry.
I think you're distracted by the dog. I think that's what that was. Yeah. Yeah, I think because the names aren't very memorable, but I did say that. Yeah, so the first thing I'll be talking about in the past is, in the past, everyone's kind of getting ready for dinner. Shauna's kind of doing her thing with Jackie, which I'll come back to and talk about later. And kind of doing all of this, everyone's kind of debating on just because they typically what seems to be a trend is every night they have to kind of wait on Shauna, so everyone just kind of debates on like we should just eat Shauna's share and all that type of stuff. I mean, it's been 2 months of doing this. I'm surprised I didn't think of this sooner, but okay, that's fine with that. And I'm pretty sure it's like the background characters that are saying this too, which is pretty funny. Like these background characters.
So everyone, the YellowJackets are a bunch of heartless assholes. Like, because Thais had to point out, like, okay, first of all, she's 7 months pregnant. Well, no, Natalie points out she's 7 months pregnant.
Yeah.
Like, she shouldn't be old for so long. And Thais says, like, hey, listen, you are not eating Shauna's share. That's not fair.
Yeah.
And as soon as Thais leaves and she's like, hey guys, don't eat my share, they immediately start digging in.
Yeah. These YellowJackets are, especially the background characters. I feel like these have to be the most heartless background characters I think I've ever seen in a show, type of thing.
Is Mary is she like somebody we know? Because when she makes a comment on Shauna later, I'm like, damn, who the fuck are you?
No, I don't think we know who that is. So,
because whoever Mary is, my God, she just fucking went straight for Shauna's throat.
Yeah, I told you these are heartless background characters. You gotta. But yeah, so continuing with this, apparently they have a piss bucket, and they have a piss bucket that they pee in because it's too cold sometimes. But they have an agreement where if you have to take a shit, pretty much, you go outside and do that. And apparently, someone didn't follow the rules, and someone took a shit in the piss bucket. And obviously, Taissa gets upset about this. Misty has a really funny line where she asks, is it a boy poo or a girl poo? Which is really funny. And obviously, Taissa has to go, like, dispose of it and everything like that. The implication I'm getting is that, based on what we see, I'm going to guess that Taissa is the culprit just because she was probably sleepwalking and didn't really know she did this. That's my guess.
Yeah, well, I also think, it's funny because, because Taissa says, like, okay, whoever did it, to go throw it away, and then Taissa ends up being the one to throw it away. So I think it's supposed to be like ironic for the viewer that it's Taissa who did it. Yeah.
And then later that night, Van wakes up and we apparently overnight she tied up Taissa, but apparently what ended up happening was Taissa, I guess, broke out of it and everything like that because she's not there at night. So Taissa we see is sleepwalking, and she's like...
ropes? I thought she just got up and left in the middle of the night.
Yeah, I think those were ropes. So and Taissa sleepwalking. She's following the man with no eyes, and
it's not saying see him again because we saw him obviously in that flashback with Taissa's grandmother, but like I don't think we saw him at all since then.
No, I don't think we have. I don't think we have.
I wonder if like the forest spirit thing and that are like related at all. Or again, it's just Tyson just fucking like hallucinating or something.
Right. And yeah, Taissa nearly walks off the edge. There's an animal like that does this where like they'll just walk off the edge when it's time for them to die. I forget what the name of it is. It's like some type of insect or like rat or something. So I always kind of like it when I see it like when I see the same thing almost happen to like humans and stuff. And Van like calls Taissa's name, and Taissa like wakes up and like falls. I think Van like tackles her to the ground, and like Taissa gets scared, like realizing that she almost basically she almost killed herself pretty much, like sleepwalking and everything like that.
In the words of Bender from Futurama, do a flip.
Let's do a what?
Do a flip.
Oh, okay.
And in Futurama, Hermes was gonna like jump off the building, and everyone was like, "No, Hermes, you have so much to live for." And Bender was just like, "Do a flip."
That's funny. And then back at the cabin, Van's like wondering what's going on with Taissa, asking if she has a lot on her mind, and she says that she's worried about Shauna, that she's still talking to like Jackie, and the fact that she's pregnant and everything like that. And I kind of like this, because it shows that Taissa's like worried about Shauna, so like that stress is causing her to sleepwalk. I mean, again, you have to like this as much as you can. The fact that she's even sleepwalking at all in the past is stupid, but from what it is, I like it.
Also, we get confirmation on how long they've been out there, because remember we were debating last time if it had been like 5 months or something like that, and we get confirmation it's 7 months right now.
Yeah. Which they kind of jumped. They kind of really jumped to 7 months. That's they kind of did like a kind of a big time jump there type of thing. So
well, maybe it was 2 months break in between 1 and 2, so that means by the end of season 1 it had been 5 months.
Yeah, that's fair. But hey, it's not as bad as the L movie. I don't know if you remember that. Like, L had, like
they like fucking skipped 3 weeks and then like crammed everything in the last like 5 days.
Yeah, and L still was doing relatively well before he gets fucked over. So, yeah, that's kind of the end of you get of past Taissa stuff. That's related to her own plot. Obviously, it becomes related to Shauna's plot later on. Overall, I liked everything they kind of were doing with Taissa. I mean, the fact that she's even sleepwalking and all in the past is a problem, but if we're here now, we can't really do anything about it. For what this is and how we could have to enjoy it, I think it's fine.
Did you say the scene where Van and Taissa were back in the attic? Because you mentioned when they got to the cliff, but did you say what happened when they got back?
Yeah, they were talking about Shauna. Taissa's also surprised about the fact that, like, she cut through the ropes and everything like that. And obviously Taissa's, like, afraid, talking about how, about what could happen when she sleepwalks again and everything like that. And she's worried about Shauna, pretty much.
I don't know if you brought up what Van mentioned she wants to like talk with Lottie about it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
That's what I was trying to like say without saying it. So.
But yeah, Van wants to talk with Lottie about it, and obviously Taissa's a dead set against it, just because she doesn't really believe in like the supernatural stuff, and I think Van believes in it, but I think also too it's at least them doing something about this type of thing, and yeah. We'll see what happens. I kind of like that they had this conversation type of thing, and we'll see if they actually talk to Lottie about this type of thing.
Yeah, I think Taissa's getting suspicious, because Taissa said, like, I'm not going to speak to her, and you're not going to speak to her. But then later when Taissa was, like, cutting the firewood, she was, like, staring at Van, sitting next to Lottie.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Taissa's, like, maybe getting suspicious that Van's going to, like, talk to Lottie behind her back. And we get another really sweet scene. Where, when they go back to sleep, Van is, like, hugging her as they go to sleep. So basically saying, like, listen, if you move a muscle, I'll feel it.
Yeah. And then, at this point, they had cut to the intro already. Because you talked about the past last time, I didn't mention this. The intro is a little different. Obviously, makes sense that the intro would be updated a little bit because we'd have lost a character now. So, like, pretty much, they've added all the new actors and everything like that in there. The intro kind of gives away that someone's coming back, someone's alive in the present, and the intro kind of gave that away. But we'll talk about that when we actually see this person. And I do like in the present now. They look a little bit more depressed and everything like that, because they were like that kind of before, but now that like they've gone through their stuff in the present in the intro, they look a little bit more depressed. And now like when it cuts to like the forest, instead it like transitions into like winter and everything like that. So the intro updates are pretty decent. They didn't obviously update anything big because the intro is still fairly new, but overall I thought it was fine. What do you think of the new intro, everything like that?
Like you said, it updates the visuals to like the more wintry landscape. Well, I mean, you know, with the intro spoiling, I mean, the trailer fucking did that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay. Well, I mean, I remember that was a big discussion at the end of season 1 where I was like predicting, like, oh shit, what's going to happen with this character? I bet they're going to die because, because I made a whole, theory about it, and then nope, that's just incorrect.
Well, not just that. I'm just saying, if you didn't watch the trailer, the intro also spoils it too. So that this character comes back. But then when they come back, we see that Natalie and Travis, still hunting. I like this because this was a nice transition, because we were seeing stuff at this time going on with Lottie and Natalie in the present, and they transitioned to like the Travis and Natalie stuff. So this was a really good cut from the past and present. Doing all of this, Travis talks about how, how like he should. That he has opened his mind up a little bit and kind of stopped like thinking he was like better than like Lottie's stuff. He's starting to kind of have more of an open mind to it. This is kind of where we can start to have the conversation again. Like, that's a big continuity error, because Natalie said in the present that he didn't believe in any of that stuff, and here he is talking to her about this. So that's kind of it's not great. And then Natalie. Kind of has an argument about this, because originally Natalie kind of thinks at first that Travis is talking about how she should have more of an open mind to it. Natalie and Travis are kind of are becoming a little distant. They're not like in bad terms or anything like that, but because of how they feel about their beliefs towards Lottie's stuff, it's kind of making them a little distant. And as we're going to find out, Natalie probably staged this argument so that way she could go and do her thing later on too. Yeah,
I was gonna say, I did think it was just like a regular argument. And I was actually gonna complain. I'm like, oh god, we got so much of them arguing last season, and I know, like, based on what other people have said, the relationship is always gonna be like hostile, and they're gonna like break up a million different times.
Yeah.
But I didn't want that to be the entire show. It's just them constantly fucking fighting with each other.
I mean, I said this is an argument. This isn't really an argument. This is kind of them having a disagreement. But Natalie, I think, made it.
No, it doesn't become a big fight. It's just, they end up just being like, okay, look, we'll just, you go that way, I go this way.
Yeah.
We'll meet back at that location, after it's done. And like you said, it seems to be that Natalie planned for them to like have a little disagreement and like split off so Natalie can do her plan.
Yeah. And the plan is, it's a good plan, but not a nice plan. So pretty much, I kind of like this too. We see that Natalie went into Travis's dad's suitcase, or somebody's suitcase, but it looked, if you read the name, it was Travis's dad's suitcase. I think he had, what's weird? He has a name, but technically we could add him to the list of like characters that are unnamed, because like we never actually. I feel like too, they don't say his name enough, and he dies so quickly that like no one remembers his name. So I feel like we're gonna make an exception and put him on the characters that are unnamed, because he dies too quick to really get a name, type of thing. So, yeah, we see that she went into Travis's dad's suitcase. We need to have a battle of who's of the dads. Keita's dad versus Travis's dad. Both unnamed. Winner gets a name.
Well, I mean, Keita's dad. Well, that's not fair, because Keita's dad would win, but if he won, he would get a name, and we all know that can never happen. That's like a rule of the universe.
I know, because the differences between Travis's dad and Keita's dad is Keita's dad's show was going on for like years and years and years before the anime was even made, and he didn't get a name. And Travis's dad... And from what we know...
Yeah, I mean, I found out the Kiss This manga went on for fucking, like, 17 years or some shit, somehow.
Yeah, so... But, But yeah, so Lottie, not
Well,
Lottie.
this is episodes until season 3 comes out. Of YellowJackets, Kisses has more episodes. So there you go.
At the moment, yes. Unfortunately, that's unfortunate. And yet we still have a lot of Kisses to review somehow, more than YellowJackets somehow. So.
We thought turns out we're not even halfway.
But yeah, so Natalie, starts going through Travis's dad's suitcase, and she pulls out like a pair of jeans / a sweatshirt, some type of clothing, and she rips it apart, and we see that in the present that she planted it there, but she also had to hide like the other part of the evidence. So what she did was she cut a leg and wrapped it around herself, and I think also she wanted to make it look like that because she puts a little bit of blood onto.
Yeah, I thought that was she, because like, okay, if it's just a piece of Javi's clothing, that doesn't really mean anything.
Yeah,
but like she like put some blood on it to make it seem like Javi like something like killed him.
Right. So yeah, so Travis comes over and sees this, and he gets distraught. Natalie kind of makes up a bullshit story saying that he called. Saying that she called his name, didn't get anything, and Travis obviously
he's been holding on hope for 2 months, and as soon as Natalie shows him that, he wants to go where she found it, like dig in the ground, see if he's like buried under there, like scream. And she's like, no, listen, I did all that.
Yeah, and yeah, Travis kind of goes to his knees and gets all upset, and Natalie comforts him, and yeah, this kind of wasn't cool for Natalie to do this. It's kind of understandable because obviously she didn't want Travis to have false hope about Javi, and I think she kind of wanted Travis to move on from this, but this also just isn't cool because now it's like that's the reverse false hope. Now Travis is just going to think he's dead, and it's going to look really bad if Javi gets found now type of thing, and
yeah, well, I am completely fine with Natalie doing this. Obviously, like you said, it's pretty fucked up. To like make him know he's dead. But I understand where Natalie's coming from. He's been gone 2 months. He's probably gonna be alive. But like, no reasonable person would think he is alive at this point.
Right.
So and again, I mean, Natalie ends up like getting mad at Lottie. Like, listen, stop telling him how he's alive. Like, you're just making shit worse.
Right.
Like, and again, as far as Natalie knows, they're never gonna find the body, so she doesn't want Travis to like.
That's fair, yeah. I just think it's also not cool because now he kind of gives him like completely like false hope that like he's not gonna get like found and all that type of stuff because he could be out. He very well could be out there type of thing, and if Travis stops looking, Harvey could just die without getting found at all type of thing and everything like that. So
yeah, I don't know. At 2 months in the freezing cold, they're all freezing when they have like layers of clothes on in the cabin. Javi is by himself and he's wearing like a t-shirt,
Right.
Again, I'm assuming some weird like 1 in a million chance like somehow Javi survived, but like Natalie would have no fucking knowledge of that. Like any reasonable person would assume Javi is dead. He's buried under a mountain of snow, or like something, an animal killed him and ate him, and like they're never gonna find him at all. Because keep in mind, for the last 2 months, every day they've been going out, they've been making maps, they've been searching, and like for miles and miles, and they have not found him. So like, I can't blame her for.
And I think it's one of those things where I think Natalie kind of wanted to do a show don't tell type of thing, because I think Natalie's been trying to have this conversation for a while with Travis, and Lottie hasn't been making it easy for her, so this was probably the best way of her going about it type of thing.
Exactly. That's what I mean. That's why I brought up Lottie, is because Natalie tried to bring this up to Travis. He had a panic attack, and Lottie told him, like, don't worry, Javi's alive. So I think, and like, I don't think if Natalie tried to have the conversation, Travis would have bought it. So I think to like just put him at ease.
Yeah.
It was kind of like, okay, look, I'll give him something to make him think, he's gone, and like that's it.
Right.
Because it's all an issue of like, okay, if Javi is alive, what? He's just been like out in the freezing cold for 2 months suffering,
Yeah. So, We'll see what happens. But yeah, so then they go back to camp, and everyone in the group notices. This is obviously tied to stuff with Shauna, but I'll come back to that later. But everyone in the group notices that they found Harvey's thin, and Lottie doesn't really understand this because she senses that Harvey's alive, and obviously she sees this, so she kind of knows there's some bullshit kind of going on right here. But Natalie has to be like, "Shut up, Lottie," because obviously she finally got like Travis at like peace that Harvey is dead, so like she doesn't want to give him any more like false hope.
Bending on a run
Inside.
inside.
Yeah, sorry, I was watching Ben eat my aunt's dog while she's in the hospital. So you should make a try. I let him inside.
Oh, but yeah, anyhow, so obvious, and I like this because this also tied in well with what was going on with Natalie and Lottie in the present. And then when they do a memorial for
well, sorry, my thoughts on the Lottie thing is again, unless Natalie doesn't believe in any of the supernatural shit. So from Natalie's perspective, I totally get like being mad at Lottie.
Yeah.
Because again, that's again, like it's messed up to like fake Harvey's like bloody clothes and stuff. But I don't know. Lottie, like Travis thinks his brother is dead. And he's like obviously distraught and he's like sad and somber. And then for Lottie to be like, "What? He should be alive. That's crazy. What the fuck?"
Yeah.
It's like Lottie, stop. like he is already in a bad place.
Right.
Like.
And then they're doing a memorial for somebody else that we'll talk about in a couple seconds. And when this fire goes down, Travis puts like Harvey's clothing into the fire and kind of says goodbye to Harvey, like a nice memorial to him and all that type of stuff.
I will say it is a little weird how Travis, again, like he slept with Jackie like that, like 2 nights before she died, or like the night before she died. And then he just like does not give a fuck.
Right. Well, because
they weren't close or anything. They kind of just slept with each other, they sleep with each other.
I can I can understand it. I can understand it a little bit because he's probably grieving about his brother right now, so I think that's what he's thinking about, type of thing.
Oh,
so.
yeah. Well, it also ends up being funny with what they end up doing with Jackie at the end of the episode. That Travis is like, weird day for me.
Then later in the night, they've been building up to this moment for a while. You're waiting when Natalie and Travis finally gonna have sex. It finally happens. It seems like Travis is finally able to do it. But I put in the notes, but that's not under the best circumstances, because it's not just because actually in my notes I put it, but not under great circumstances. Because doing all of this, Travis is kind of like thinking about Lottie like kind of in a leadership role where she's kind of as if she's directing like Travis, like it's finally time to do this and all that type of stuff. I
didn't take it. He was having like visions of like he's with Natalie, like obviously like having sex with her, and then like it'll cut to like Lottie like like he's resting his head on Lottie's lap, and like she's like comforting him.
Yeah. So
I think that Lottie directing him on what to do with Natalie. Like Lottie's like over her shoulder, like okay, no, fit her here and like do this move. It'll be great. She'll love it. I didn't take it as that.
But yeah, obviously it's a big thing is because Lottie's comforted him. It's obviously is Travis starting to believe the supernatural stuff that Lottie's doing, type of thing. The biggest thing is why it's also not under great circumstances is because Natalie and Travis finally have sex, and Travis is more so thinking about Lottie than kind of being in the moment, type of thing. So
I was gonna say, I want like. I just imagine this whole show from Travis's perspective is a fucking fever dream.
It really
poor
is.
Guy, every time this man has tried to get laid, it has been a fucking shit show. They had the whole with Natalie in the plane, and the deer showed up and interrupted them. They had he was like having anxiety. He gets with Jackie, and everyone tries to fucking murder him. And then now he's finally sleeping with Natalie for the first time, and he's having weird fucking trippy visions of Lottie.
Yeah, but yeah, this is kind of like Lottie.
Like, you know what? I'm good on sex forever. I don't want to have it anymore, like ever again.
But yeah, like doing all of this stuff, like more so Travis is kind of thinking of Lottie, of like her being confident to him and kind of starting to kind of think about the supernatural stuff more so than kind of Natalie. So it seems like Travis is kind of starting to believe in that stuff, even though he's not supposed to, because season 1 kind of said that he doesn't, but that's clearly bullshit. So whatever. Well. That's the only part I don't like about this. It seems like they kind of went back on that and everything like that. So
yeah, which is weird because again, that he's like the only character they established as not believing it. Like we didn't know what everybody else thought.
Right.
Like Thaisa, I guess. Well, we didn't know about modern day Thaisa. We only knew about past Thaisa, like not believing in it. Yeah, Travis is the only one they established as like he never believed in any of it.
Yeah, and it seems like.
Double back on that like instantly.
Yeah, I like the stuff that's going on with Travis. It just would be better if they never like said like, "Hey, he never believed in this." And
right, it's clearly like a continuity issue. Like the writer said one thing, and now they're doing a completely different thing, and like just hoping you forgot what that Natalie said that.
Yeah, it'd be better too if like it was like with Natalie not around type of thing. But
that's what I was gonna say. Like because like when we get when Lottie tells her story present day, it sounded like Travis like was acting erratic and he had like never been like that before.
Yeah.
And obviously Natalie hadn't spoken to him in a long time. So I'm like, yeah, okay, I can buy that. Like Natalie didn't know that Travis had begun to like believe in it. But like Pat, it definitely seems like he was buying into it.
Yeah, Natalie, and that's like the whole reason Natalie and Travis have been like a little distant. I think that's that whole scene of like Travis's vision of Lottie. He's starting to believe in Lottie stuff more than like Natalie stuff too, type of thing. So it's like, so yeah, it's not a great not a great look for Travis. I like everything for the most part they did. I feel like they should had they never said Travis never believed in this stuff, this would be all fine type of thing and everything like that. So, what do you think of everything they did with Natalie and Travis in this?
I like it again. Like I said, I totally get why Natalie did it. Like, yeah, from like a moral perspective, it's wrong. But again, I totally buy why she's doing it, and it's kind of to put Travis at ease. And again, unless something supernatural happens, if I were in her shoes, I would 110% believe like Javi is dead. And I know Lottie is having like supernatural visions of Javi being alive. But like again, I would be like, okay, I would believe Lottie's fucking crazy and like giving Travis false hope before I would believe that she's like having Jesus visions.
Right.
So I completely but at the same time, I'm cool with Travis. Like again, he's kind of clinging on to that last hope. It's his brother. It's his only family he has out here after he lost his dad. I totally understand, why he's like so fixated on finding Javi. And he's clearly heartbroken when when he believes he's dead. So I think both characters are flawed, but like in a realistic way. Because I remember last episode I complained about Shauna present day.
Yeah.
Where like it's like I don't buy it and I find it annoying. Whereas here, like obviously both characters are doing things that are wrong, but like I buy it. I believe they would do these things based on the information they have.
And you can understand why they're all doing these things too. So
absolutely. Like, again, I understand why everybody's doing the things they're doing, which in this episode, which I like.
And then everything with Shauna and Jackie and everything like that. Before the cold open, the intro, Shauna is just in like the meat locker like freezer. And again, Jackie is a conscience here. Jackie is kind of talking to Shauna, talking about how, she's also and they're having a conversation, and it gets like pretty messed up, like pretty immediately, because obviously Jackie's asking Shauna like what she did with the Rio and everything like that, and Shauna's lying pretty much to herself, I guess, because this is her conscience. So, I did like, it's like she tries to like walk away from it and like, because it's her conscience, when she walks away, like Jackie like teleported to the other side, which I thought was really good. Kind of like your conscience, because that's the big thing. You're always trying to ignore your conscience, but your conscience is just going to keep poking at you until you do the right thing.
Again, Shauna keeps arguing with Jackie, but like again, like everything Jackie is saying is like Shauna's own mind.
Yeah.
Like throwing it in her face.
Doing all this, Shauna starts to braid Jackie's hair because obviously Jackie kind of brings up like everyone's gonna find out that my ear's missing, so you're gonna have to like hide it and everything like that. So Shauna is braiding Jackie's hair, and this is kind of messed up because they're reminiscing about stuff, but you could definitely see here that Shauna's going crazy because I really like this because, she's just talking to a dead corpse and stuff pretty much. And then, Jackie, starts to ask for her makeup to be done. And doing all this, she's asking Shauna like a lot of questions like, why did she eat your ear? And did you prove right that you wanted to be me? Is that why you ate my ear and all that type of stuff? And, Jackie's like telling Shauna that she's hungry and everything like that, and she says that you could, take a bite and just take a slice, and nobody would blame you. Everyone would understand. And Shauna's like thinking about it. In her vision, she sees that Jackie's actually, cutting her own arm off, and
I do like that. It's pretty obvious what's happening because Jackie can't actually fucking, because she's a corpse, she can't actually cut herself.
Right.
And then Shauna stops her, but she's like. And then Jackie's like, but you're the one holding the knife.
Yeah. And, Shauna kind of like, again, it kind of goes with this edible complex thing. Shauna seems like she's actually considering this and everything like that. I really like this scene a lot, just shows how much Shauna's gone off the rails and everything like that. And, I'm glad the stuff with Jackie does end this episode because I think if they drag this out one more episode, it might be a little forced. So I'm kind of glad this is kind of the last of it and everything like that. So
yeah, and I also like that like the last episode we cut to Jackie's corpse and obviously like the ear fell off and all that. I like for this episode when it's Shauna's point of view, it's always been like a live Jackie.
Yeah,
and then we don't see like corpse Jackie until Taissa walks in, and like obviously we see like all the makeup on her and stuff, and like how creepy it looks.
Yeah, and during that whole scene I mentioned earlier, when Taissa was like talking, like she was really concerned about like Shauna, like wondering like what she was doing with Jackie, and like kind of wondering like we need to start like doing something about this because Shauna is gonna have to start to like cope with this like sooner rather than later. So this time, like the next day, while Taissa's chopping firewood, when she sees Shauna come out of the meat locker and everything like that, she goes in there and like sees that Shauna has been like braiding Jackie's hair and putting lipstick on her and like doing her makeup and everything like that. Taissa, like, confronts her on it pretty immediately and everything like that. She's like, WTF, Shauna, and, like, shoves her to the ground and kind of tells the whole group...
WTF? Why do you say it like that?
Why not? It's fine, so...
I was like, did Taissa say that? But I was like, no. She just... I was like, that's just...
That wasn't even a thing in 96, so it was just...
Oh, yeah.
So I just added that myself. And... Taissa comes and tells the group. I think what made this good is, like, Taissa gave Shauna the chance to say something, but then when she doesn't, like, Taissa's like, okay, I gotta step in here. And she, like, mentions to everybody that, like, Shauna's been, like, braiding and, like, doing Jackie's, like, makeup and everything like that. And I like Coach Ben here. He's... like, what the fuck type of thing? Because Coach Ben, you could just tell, is just done with this whole group anyways. So,
Oh, yeah. Earlier when they were talking about getting... like Shauna, like, because she's out in the shed. Ben, like, makes a comment of, like, well, I guess one of you better go get her.
Yeah.
Like, and we're going to see at the end of the episode, he is like, I fucking hate being here.
Yeah. But I think, because Coach Ben, this episode really showcased that because he's lost control, he just kind of lets everyone now, like, do whatever they want. Like, he's not really given, like, his opinion anymore and all that type of stuff.
Yeah, because last season, like, he kind of lost control. Like, Laura told him, like, fucking Lottie, like, shut him up when he tried to, like, de-escalate the fight between Jackie and Shauna.
Yeah.
So yeah, poor like it's kind of accepted that like no one's gonna listen to him and he can't like mediate or anything.
So and I figure here, I feel like this was a good thing. Like it was a little thing here when the Shauna stuff gets mentioned, but you could just definitely these past couple of episodes really showed that he's just lost control and he doesn't give a shit anymore. So,
yeah.
And then
I also like how Lottie is defending Shauna, being like, listen, it's healthy for her to like this is like how she grieves. It like that was her best friend. And Tice is on the other end of the coin of like, no, this is not healthy. And again, it's adding more conflict between Tice and Lottie because earlier, obviously, Tice didn't want to talk with Lottie and like she doesn't believe in all the supernatural stuff that Lottie does. So it's setting up pretty well that like Natalie and Taissa are like at odds with Lottie. And it's interesting because Tice and Shauna really built up a friendship in season 1.
Right.
So now that Lottie is kind of like taking Shauna's side, Shauna and Taissa are like at odds. But like again, from Taissa's point of view, she's trying to help Shauna.
Right.
Like I mean, again, I started with Taissa. I'm like, that is not healthy.
Right.
To like just going out talking to her corpse every day. And Taissa even points out like think about the baby. And Shauna gets defensive of like, what would you know about like the baby? Like how do you know what's best for it? And Taissa, to be fair to her, is like, listen, I don't know what's best for the baby, but I know this is not it.
Yeah, I feel like too this was a really good thing. I actually side with Taissa also here because this really isn't healthy. It's also Shauna trying to fix something that can't be fixed, and the more she keeps Jackie around, it's just going to get worse. As we've seen, it gets worse and worse because originally it was something fine, but now that she's starting to do like, her makeup and braiding her hair, I mean, I'm not going to...
And also, she's, even though no one caught on to it except Lottie, she obviously like cut off a piece of her arm.
Yeah, but I'm just saying it's only going to get worse the longer they had kept Jackie around and everything like that.
Yeah.
But I don't exactly know what would have happened. I'm not going to speculate, but it was going to get worse and worse type of thing.
Yeah. But imagine fucking Taissa walks in and she's like half eaten. Like that makes it 10 times worse.
Yeah. I mean, you made that joke.
Also, I was trying to confirm that because remember I asked you a question off camera and you brought it up last review. I was curious on like if they had put Jackie in the shed because they were planning on like having her be like their emergency food. But no, this episode answers like, okay, no, so that wasn't their plan. The ground was frozen; they couldn't bury her.
Yeah.
So it seems like they were just keeping her there so they could until they could properly bury her or cremate her or whatever.
So
I like that. It shows that like moral decline of like I feel like it'd be too fucked up if that was like their first thought was like, okay, such Jackie's dead, but plus side hey, free meal.
Right.
No, like they were holding on to that morality of like they didn't even consider actually eating Jackie.
But yeah, so doing all of this, Taissa recommends that they cremate her, and obviously Shauna doesn't want to do this. She still kind of wants to hold on to like Jackie. But I do like that Taissa kind of takes a stand here and says like, no, we're doing this. It's time to finally get rid of Jackie, type of thing. Everyone sort of take Taissa's side. I think too this is also a take on Taissa's kind of frustrated with herself that she can't keep her stuff straight, so she wants everyone else to kind of not be kind of in her dilemma. So that's kind of what I think is kind of going on here too. And they get the firewood together and everything like that, and then that whole stuff with Natalie and Travis starts to happen, and doing all of this, they kind of decide whether or not to get rid of Jackie's jacket, because she had like a varsity jacket and everything like that, and I think Shauna's like, I can't believe we're debating this, like what we keep type of thing. I think Shauna just kind of done because she realizes like, because I thought at first this was a continuity error, like didn't she? Because I was thinking like wasn't Callie wearing that when she wore the costume, but that wasn't the case. I forgot it was just like the actual outfit.
It's Shauna has her like YellowJackets like outfit.
Yeah.
Not her jacket.
Yeah. But I did remember that later on. So kind of when that
Jackie's parents gave it to her. Yeah.
Yeah. And then later
like I said, because like they wanted to take her clothes for like warmth so everybody else could like wear it. And fucking Marty was like, "Oh, what are you her protector now?" And then Shauna and whoever the fuck Mari is, get into like a little fist fight. And
Well, I think you've
yeah,
said.
like we pointed out, like these fucking YellowJackets background characters are fucking ruthless.
I think you said like 2 different names for this. You said Mary and then you said Molly here. I don't know. Like,
Well, the subtitle said like Mari. I just didn't know if it was pronounced Mary or Molly.
oh, okay. I don't use the subtitles, so that probably explains why you know the name and I don't. So,
Yeah, it's like the Bikini Bottom people in like early seasons of SpongeBob where they're all really fucking mean. And like it's kind of funny just how fucking ruthless everybody is.
I love it.
Like we said, guys, like the Family Guy skit, like Shauna looked over and they were already like eating Jackie, and then she was like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah, but yeah, continuing with all.
Right. Or next episode, everybody's like, "Oh my god, I can't believe we did this to Jackie. It was a supernatural thing." And like the background characters are like, "What supernatural thing? What's going on?" Huh?
Yeah.
Is there a ghost? I'm just hungry.
Yeah, but yeah, kind of after Travis and Natalie are kind of doing their thing, Shauna interrupts it, and she says like a message to Jackie, like saying like you were my best friend, but I think she doesn't really know what to say, which makes sense because obviously she's still coping the death and she doesn't really know like how to feel about Jackie. So I think it makes sense that like Shauna's death speech towards Jackie really isn't much because I feel like she knows they ended on such bad terms and they can't be fixed. So I kind of like the fact that it really wasn't much. He just kind of said like you were my best friends, goodbye, I love you, and just burns it. But she didn't really give like she wouldn't give like a big speech about like a best friend type of thing.
Well, I like that she says she's sorry.
Yeah,
and like she's like again, the actress for Shauna does a great job. And like you said, it was kept short and sweet. Like Shauna kind of knows she ruined things between them, and like she can never fix it.
Yeah.
So yeah, like she kind of just keeps it as brief as she can, and I think that hit harder. That she didn't have like a whole big speech prepared.
Yeah.
It was just the simple. You were my best friend. I'll never have another friend like you. I'm sorry. I love you.
Which sucks because that ends up being the case in the present for the most part and everything like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I guess Thaisa, but I don't think. But they don't see each other that much.
Again, it's like I think when she says like I'll never have another friend like you, it's Thaisa and not Natalie, Donna have a good friendship, but like it's not the same.
Yeah.
And I see that here, where like with the illusion of Jackie. Talking about how, like, I was always doing the makeup for you. It's kind of nice to have you do it for me for a change,
Yeah. And I think, like, too, because it's, like, Shauna's last real, like, normal friendship that she's going to have, obviously, because she's going to get so fucked up and everything like that out there and everything like that. So then, they cremate Jackie's body. Everyone goes back into the cabin. And then all the stuff with Natalie and Travis happens, and during all of that, this is where we question whether or not this is supernatural or not. A huge gust of wind takes place, and the wind, like a big pile of snow almost, like falls onto the burning dead body of Jackie, and this causes the fire to really burn and everything like that. I do think...
no, not the burn. It caused the fire to, like, smolder,
yeah,
right? Like to die down.
I like to think this is
the fire didn't die completely, so like the fire was like just strong enough to like cook her essentially.
Yeah. So we talked about this off camera. This has to be something supernatural because that would just be really weird if it wasn't. Because I don't know how you really explain in like a non-supernatural way that like. Jackie's body was just able to get into like temperature to finally get cooked. If it's not supernatural, I just don't really know how you explain that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm like, it's too convenient, It's like, what would be the fucking odds that the wind would blow free, all that snow would fall, and again, the fire didn't get extinguished.
Yeah.
And the fire, because if the fire kept going, obviously, she just would have became. And if the snow like burnt out the fire completely, she just would have,
right.
Like been like not cooked enough. It was just enough to like cook her to like perfection.
I mean,
it's weird to say
because the fact is, it's also really cold out there and everything like that. That shouldn't even. That's not normal that a body's burning, like a full-on human body's burning like that, like really well in the cold weather and everything like that. So
yeah. Well, I also like that we get this is a really cool camera shot where we get like a POV of like the wind or like the spirit or whatever, where like it's above the cabin and then you see it like move like and, like hit the tree.
Yeah,
and that
really
causes
good.
all this. That was good camera work. I like that.
Then the end of the actual episode comes in, and you know, Shauna wakes up and everyone wakes up, but Shauna says, "I smell something delicious." Shauna kind of steers the ship and goes out there first and mentions, you know, that she wants us to eat this. And obviously this makes sense that Shauna starts this because obviously she's the first one, unless the background characters have been doing it, who knows. But, you know, she's the first one of, like, the crew to resort to cannibalism privately and everything like that. So it makes sense that Shauna kind of initiates this first. And I think Shauna kind of given that permission made it okay for, like, everybody else because, you know, Shauna was pretty dead set against anyways cremating Jackie. So, you know... And it seems like all these women are in like a fugue state, and Travis. I forgot Travis was part of this. But yeah, it seems like everyone here was in like a fugue state and everything like that. Like, was this supernatural? Was this just them being so hungry that you know?
Yeah. Well, it was really cool. We get it's cutting like it's kind of cutting to like how they're seeing it.
Yeah.
Like they're all dressed as like Greek gods. You know, they're wearing like the head set. And like, you know, like robe, and they're all sitting at like a nice table, like surrounded by a beautiful feast.
It's like they kind of have like an old Romans back in the day, like vegetarian, like Thanksgiving, like feast and all that type of stuff, which is.
I was gonna say, I don't think Thanksgiving was a thing back during the Roman and Greek days, but sure, yeah, I know what you mean. When I was thinking in like a Thanksgiving feast.
Yeah, well, I said I think I said Thanksgiving because that's typically when we have a feast like that. So,
yeah. Well, again, like they're dressed as like royals or like gods, you know, like the robes and like the head things that Sean is wearing. But I do like, you know, like it mainly shows like this like noble feast. But then it'll hard cut occasionally to like what they're actually doing. They're all just like stuffing their faces with Jackie like in like the cold, you know, dark forest.
I really like this. IOL when they did this, what they did was they actually like made it like it's like rice pads and like some other foods and stuff that they'll actually eat in IOL type of thing. Obviously, some of the actors still felt weird doing this anyways, even though it wasn't real, just because, you know, it's still real enough, I guess. But yeah, the actors...
Well, they had like an overhead shot of like Jackie's corpse, and they're all just like picking at it.
Yeah. They did a really good job at this. I should send you like the behind the scenes thing of like what it looked like, because it actually shows like what they were doing when they were actually filming this and everything like that. So I'll send that right over to you when I get a minute. Probably not. Probably forget.
But it wasn't actually Jackie's corpse. They didn't kill the actress and then cook her alive.
Hey.
Obviously.
Maybe. Well, I guess that isn't the case because she's been in other stuff recently. So
you have to pass the background characters. The background characters to actually be like, bro, I thought we were actually gonna kill her.
Yeah. But the episode ends though. Ben is the only one that doesn't participate. He's haunted by this, and he goes back into the cabin and is like haunted about the fact, because again, Ben was pretty much done with this group anyways. Now he's like not just done with the group, he's like terrified now of this group that they'll all have pretty much resorted to cannibalism now and everything like that. And he's probably thinking to himself too, like, if they're just willing to eat like Jackie, someone that like they're actually close with for the most part, what's my fate type of thing? Because
I'm like with Ben, it's like he's got one leg, you know, like you can't like run away, you know, can't even defend himself, basically.
Yeah. So this is pretty interesting. I like that there was one person that didn't resort to this, because I feel like if everybody did, it'd be unrealistic. I like that and it makes sense that Ben's the one that's kind of like not really participated in this type of thing.
It's also interesting, and you could argue that they're being like kind of pushed to do this by like a supernatural thing. Well, because I'm also curious, because yeah, Shauna woke up one time, and everybody else like woke up. Okay, so everybody woke up at the same time.
Yes.
And as we saw, Natalie and Travis were in a different room from obviously because they were like sleeping together. They didn't do that in front of everybody else. But, wait, no, fuck it. You know, they're all really bored, and you know they're all just like staring at the walls. You know, like it's like fuck it. You know, I'll watch I'm not even gonna like say that. But obviously Travis and Natalie were like in a different room, but they woke up at the same time and like went outside and like they smelled it.
Yeah.
Because, you could argue like they were just all so hungry. They like smelled the food and they're like, oh my god.
Right.
But they all seemed like in a trance, kind of. You know, again, it makes me wonder. The show does that a lot, where like anything that could be supernatural, like it's vague enough.
Yeah.
Where like you.
I feel like we talked about this off camera though. It's gonna all these seasons and stuff and all these moments are gonna look really bad if we find out that there wasn't actually something supernatural out there, because you know, then it's gonna make the whole show look bad. I feel like there's got to be something supernatural going on, just because all of these scenes are gonna look really weird.
And again, I could totally buy like they are just so fucking hungry, they're like hallucinating, and they'll like. But like again, I feel like something giving them that like push.
Yeah.
You know, in that direction. You know.
Well, especially too, because the fact that like we just talked, like if it's not something supernatural, it doesn't really make sense that Jackie's body got cooked like that. If it's not something supernatural with the circumstances in that situation and everything like that. Yeah. But that's everything in the past, though. I thought everything in the past was awesome. The episode ended on a really good cliffhanger and everything like that, and. Now that everyone's kind of resorted to cannibalism, because we've always heard them talk about it, what's going to be like the immediate fallout from that and everything like that? We might get nothing, though. It could just be a time skip, and they never do anything.
Like, I want the next morning. Like, what they did with Doom Coming, where they all, like, woke up and they were all like, oh, shit, what the fuck happened?
Yeah.
I want, like, immediately after, like, shit, what the fuck did we just do?
And again, this also isn't good for... Shauna's baby too, because she's not you know, when you're pregnant and stuff, there's like certain things you're supposed to eat and everything like that, and certain things you can't eat. How is this going to mess up Shauna's baby long term and everything like that, or immediate type of thing? So
baby's gonna come out looking like Jackie, like fucking Jackie's DNA got mixed in there. Now it's got one dad and two moms.
Yeah, why not? You know. But yeah, I loved everything in the past. I thought it was great. But yeah, let's get to the present, which was almost equally as good.
Yeah. Like we said, this episode did a great job with like all the plot lines. And while I complained about some of the character decisions last episode, I think everybody like made sense in why they were doing the things they were doing, both past and present for the most part. But you know, while the past was pretty like uniform, you know, they had like, you know, some people doing different things, but it all kind of felt connected. The past was pretty much entirely separate. Like there was barely any. Actually, I would say there was no connections in the present. The only connection you could make is Misty was like looking for Natalie, but like even that wasn't even like the focus.
Right.
So I guess I'll just start with Misty actually. So based on last episode, she of course saw that Natalie's hotel room the door was busted in, and she saw a camera. And she's like, okay, well, I need to. So she did what she did best, and she goes to Reddit, posts a picture of the camera, and like, hey, how do I like, you know, get into this camera and like get the contents of it? And everybody's just giving her like joke answers, being like, what the fuck? How old is that camera? That thing's probably older than like the caveman. And one of them's like, I don't know, try fucking smacking it with a hammer.
Yeah, I thought that was funny.
One man answers the call. One man heard Misty's cry of help and answered in kind. And that man was Elijah Wood, the actor.
Yep.
He had just got done with Lord of the Rings and Red vs. Blue. He decided to come help Misty's call. And Spy Kids 3. Can't forget Spy Kids 3.
Okay. That's the only one I think I haven't seen, actually, of the Spy Kids, so...
Yeah, he's the guy. Oh, you haven't seen the movie. Okay.
Because I've seen the first two, I just haven't seen... Because I'm pretty sure that one's not really as big as the first two, so that's why I haven't really seen it.
Well, and Elijah Wood, Owen, everybody in that movie was talking about, like, oh my god, the guy. We need the guy. If only we had the guy. He shows up and fucking dies immediately.
That's awesome.
It's so funny. Oh my god, it's fucking hilarious. We gotta watch that movie sometime.
I feel like a missed opportunity YellowJackets did is they should have made like Elijah Wood's like username on Reddit, like something related to like something he did in the past, like acting wise.
Yeah, that would be funny. It's like Frodo, Death Mountain 69 or something.
Yeah, because I love to Elijah Wood does really good voiceover work. Like anytime Misty's reading his messages, it's like, we hear Elijah Wood's voice, and it sounds like, I mean, he's just being himself pretty much, but his voiceover work is really good. I should look into that, other than RVB, if he does any more voiceover work, because that's
Yeah, exactly. I'm not sure if he does voiceover actor work much, but yeah, that'd be interesting if he did. Yeah, but Misty, he ends up commenting on Misty's thread and says like, okay, I have an idea, but only stop just like dismissing all my Adam Martin theories. And Misty just immediately like responds and like, oh, well, only if you stop like ruining this board, this like message board with your douche faces. And then she like, you think she's gonna like change her comment to like, after she calms down, you think she's gonna change it to be like, yes, I would like your help, thank you. But now she just adds wild to her goose chase. Like you're doing wild goose chases.
Yeah, not the smartest then.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, I if I were her, I would not suspect what happened. But yeah, she's at work, and of course, she has her tab open for Reddit. But then she sees a man. It's none other than Elijah Wood, the famous actor. He's at this retirement home with his mother, and he's asking a bunch of questions, about the facility. But then he kind of as he's walking by, he kind of like stares at Misty and gives her like a look.
Yeah.
And Misty kind of pieces together like, huh, okay, who is this guy? But then she goes to the fridge right after and sees that somebody has left a letter written for her on her lunchbox. And when she opens it, it's blank. So I mean, I think she puts together that this guy, Elijah Wood, the actor from the famous Lord of the Rings trilogy, is a Redditor. Not just any Redditor, the Redditor.
I wonder, like, how he got the note into the break room without anybody seeing him, though. Like, did I get?
Yeah. Well, I mean, clearly he was just like, hey, everyone was like, oh my God, you're Elijah Wood, the famous actor.
That's true.
Like, that's me. Go to your fridge, and you're like, of course.
I mean, maybe not though. Maybe he's trying to say, he's trying to have a low profile. He just wants to get his mom like a good nursing home and everything like that. So like maybe he's like, just don't make a big deal out of it, type of thing.
That was something I was gonna say. Is Misty kind of like looks at him and is like curious of him before he like gives her that look.
Yeah.
I was kind of because I mean like I thought for a second she recognized his voice, but I was like, wait a minute, we're hearing the voice.
Yeah.
What comments, but like obviously she isn't. So I was like, wait, why is Misty like kind of staring at him and like giving him an eye?
Right. Yeah, because that's that was kind of weird. I feel like it should have been the look that like made her know instead of like her staring at him. Because also too, you could say, because it's not like you could say like what a coincidence someone checks into the nursing home like the next day, but that's pretty common. Like a lot of people check in a nursing, put the parents in nursing home and stuff like the next day and everything like that. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
That was definitely one where I think the writers knew the audience was paying attention versus like Misty only knew it because we knew it type of thing, if that makes sense. So
yeah, that's basically it. Like he hadn't really done anything to like catch her attention. But also, I mean, clearly, this guy's only here to like give Misty that letter and like show like, hey, I know who you are.
Yeah, but it should have been
he's just like, a random old lady and is pretending it's his mom.
It's Elijah Wood. I why not?
Yeah. The old lady's a big fan of him. And she's like, oh my God, of course I'll pretend to be your mother.
Yeah. But it is kind of cool that Elijah Wood's first scene is with someone he's worked with before. It's kind of shocking that it's not with Shauna's character, just because of the fact that they are like that Melanie Linsky and Elijah Wood are friends in real life. You would, but Misty works just as well.
Like Wood was like the undercover cop.
He's too noticeable though.
Oh yeah, of course, Callie would go up to him at the bar and be like, "Oh my God, you're Elijah Wood."
Yeah, I feel like Elijah Wood being that person, IOL wouldn't really work because I feel like the whole thing was it was supposed to be a surprise that that guy was a cop. I don't think it really works if you put Elijah Wood anyways in that role.
Yeah.
Non-joking wise, just because it's kind of obvious that what the case would be type of thing. So
Yeah. But yeah, Misty's back at home. But I'm also kind of like, how fucking far apart do these fuckers live from each other?
yeah,
You know, because I'm like, you know, the internet's like, you know, people from all over the world can like go on the internet, right? Like, did Elijah Wood fucking drive across country to give Misty a letter, or did he just like happen to live nearby?
I'm not sure which one because we don't really know.
I mean, I'm assuming we're to get more of him. If Misty like goes to his house and or like he lives nearby, I'm gonna call bullshit on that.
Yeah, for sure.
Because again, it's like supposed to be like a small town. Like, I don't buy that like Misty and this guy happen to fucking live in the exact same area.
Especially too because it's a ton of Reddit people that post in that group and everything like that. So you know,
Right.
unless it's local, and but I don't think. But I feel like anyone could just go onto like a case and just find stuff and everything like that.
Well, because again, they're all anonymous. It seems like so. It'd be like, okay, so it's, you know, you're having a local like a message board where you're all anonymous. I'm like, okay, that seems weird.
Yeah.
I mean, if it was like New York, I'm worth like fucking millions of people, sure. But like again, small town. I'm like, okay, I don't really know about that.
I do like Misty's reaction too about the fact that you know, I think she's kind of a little pissed that Elijah Wood's one up on her every which way because like he's found out now where she's worked and everything like that. I missed the opportunity. I think would have been like her having to go through like the rest of her day at work and like having to like keep a straight face type of thing, and then like
Oh yeah, kind of like that scene with Light and Death Note where you know, he's pissed off Elle got the one up on him. And he had to fucking like wait all the way until he got home from to like fucking lose it.
And Misty would have really worked for her because Misty's not really the best anyways about keeping her emotions in check. So that would have
It would have been like kind of like that scene in you know, in the last episode with Lottie where like she just like fucking screams.
Yeah.
I would have loved that.
But then
yeah,
again,
she actually seems okay because when she gets home, she's just cleaning her birdcage and she seems pretty chill.
yeah.
But then she's like has a flashlight on her and she's like, oh duh. And then she goes to check the letter and realizes like, okay, it's one of those you know, like, you know, it's he wrote it in like that material where
Yeah, you can only see like
fucking I have a degree in forensics and I can't even think of the fucking name of the light.
like flashlights and LED lights and all that type of stuff. So
yeah. And he writes a letter being like, fuck, what does the letter say exactly?
like I can help you with your case. There was someone that was staying there like that same time.
He says like, by the way, listen, that camera is just like it's a dud. Like, it doesn't actually record anything. It's just to like be a deterrent. It's to make people think it's like recording shit, which happens a lot actually. Like, where places don't actually have working cameras. They just put cameras there to make people think that like it's being recorded.
Right.
But yeah, then he says like, there was a guy, you know, staying there, who's like, you know, like I've made him, I've like convinced him that he has a meeting with an FBI agent, you know, like tomorrow at this time. You know, and obviously he's like, you know, like saying like basically pretend to be an FBI agent to like interrogate him. I'm actually okay with that because, you know, last episode they established that like that motel is like the really seedy area of town, and like people go there to like, you know, like drug deal or like, you know, do whatever.
Yeah, I'm cool with that.
So yeah, I think this guy would be able to find somebody who was there that night and like convince them that like he's a cop essentially, and like, you know, he's like busting them for whatever they were, you know, doing there.
Well, who do you think the guy is? Because it's actually going to make more sense when you see who the guy is actually, because you've actually meet the.
Oh, is it Jeff's buddy?
Yeah, it is.
Okay, that's funny.
So that makes.
You know, okay, that's good because it established he'd been staying there for a while.
Yeah.
Because him and his wife were like on the rocks.
And it makes it, and it kind of works too because when they do that scene, he thinks he's being questioned about that versus, and he thinks that's like connected to like Jeff's. Yeah, Jeff's blackmailing shit. Yeah. So it makes. So I do like that. So like when he gets questioned, and I like too that they showed him like staying there before. Like it would have been weird if like they didn't show that scene like he was staying there before. So I do like that that connection.
What fucking odds? Like of all the people that happen to be him, yeah.
But it works, I think.
And it also makes sense because we know the guy. Like he's obviously like he even says like he's gonna have a lot of trouble, like keeping that secret.
Yeah.
He's just like he's a.
And what's kind of cool about this is Elijah Wood's putting that together. Like Misty doesn't even know like that Jeff and Randy are like were part of that stuff. So he actually is being secretive, just not for the reasons Misty even knows about and all that type of stuff. So
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. But that's pretty much it for Misty's plot point. So again, she's just kind of tied to Natalie's plot. But for the most part, it's pretty disconnected for this episode. It's just trying to get more information on where Natalie is.
I also like that Randy, that is going to be the guy. Just because too, it's a way to connect the two plots without making it in your face. So
sorry. You said he's the guy. I just was thinking that Spy Kids 3.
Yeah.
Where Elijah Wood's character is the guy. Elijah Wood, the guy, helped them find Randy, the guy.
Yeah.
Like, damn. The guy finding another guy.
But this was I liked that. I like this, though. This was a good reveal to finally have Elijah Wood show up and everything like that. Yeah, it's just cool. Elijah Wood's here now.
I like Misty's plot. I mean, it was pretty short, but it was probably the weakest of the four. And that's not really saying anything bad. It's just that the other three plot lines were really good this week.
Yeah.
And then since we're talking about Misty, we'll move on to Natalie's, which probably gets the most screen time for this episode.
Yeah.
Because it is Natalie's and Lottie's. And it's the next day, presumably. And Natalie and Lottie are kind of walking around the facility. We're getting to see like everybody like at work at the cult. I like that Natalie even calls it a cult, and Lottie's like, it's a cult. It's it's a spiritual group where we all work together. Like blah blah blah. Like basically, it's kind of like what somebody in a cult would describe the cult as.
Yeah. Yeah. Cults aren't gonna come up. Cults and people in a cult aren't gonna come out. If once you're in the outside perspective, you'll know a cult pretty much when you see it. But once you're in the weeds, you don't really consider it a cult.
Right, exactly. Well, that's the big thing.
Yeah.
It's like, people in the cult don't consider it a cult. But yeah. Natalie's kind of giving her shit and she's kind of confronting her on everything. She's like, you kidnapped me. And she's like, yeah, I was worried because of what Travis told me that you were going to, about you. And then I had my guys, just, spy on you to make sure you're okay. And then, of course, good thing they intervened when they did because, they got a gun in your mouth and you're going to kill yourself.
I like this in some.
What about the guy you were burying naked last night? She's like, oh yeah, it's like therapeutic. I wonder if she's bullshitting on that because I legitimately think if Natalie didn't intervene, they were gonna just fucking bury that guy alive.
Yeah, probably. One thing I kind of think was a missed opportunity in season 1. I mean, it would have been too much in your face. I wish you could come back and look at the background characters and you could see them watching Natalie in the background. They added
that would have been cool, yeah, if they added that in.
But I feel like
the bank lady that Natalie basically blackmailed to help her. She obviously left a voicemail for Natalie being like, "Oh my god, I have people following me. Who the fuck is Lottie Matthews?" So presumably that lady's getting hunted down by Lottie's group. So I'm kind of curious what's going on with that.
Yeah, I like this stuff though.
Or is that?
Huh?
Are we gonna see that lady again, or has that just been dropped?
Dropped.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's dropped.
Okay, so I guess we can presume Lottie's guys fucking killed her. All right, cool.
But overall, yeah, I liked Lottie's and Natalie's back and forth. I do like we made a joke the last episode about this being treated like a job type of thing, and like Lottie grades everyone, and that same person that fucked up so bad like the last episode comes up and like gives her like a latte or whatever, and just like, yeah, this latte isn't great, like do better next time. And like when she walks away, she like throws away the latte. I'm like, wow, they actually like that actually was a thing type of thing. Like, wow, she just yeah, that was a thing.
I thought it was funny because obviously the same lady, because she has like like a thing on her head where Natalie fucking stabbed her. And Lottie's being like a real bitch to her. I mean, like, oh my god, I asked you for this, and stuff like this. But then Natalie kind of like stares at her and like gives the lady shit. And Lottie's like, you know what? It's fine. I'll drink it. It's not a big deal.
Right.
And then on Lottie's like, Natalie, you don't have to be such an asshole to her. When obviously, Lottie was being an asshole to her.
Yeah.
And like I said, I thought it was funny that like she said, like, don't worry, I'll drink it. It's fine. Not a big deal. And then she just immediately chucks it in the trash.
I'm pretty sure too. There was like there was another reference in there where like Natalie made like another joke, talking about like how she nearly killed that person type of thing. Or she said like, you're looking great, and Lottie like didn't think that was funny and all that type of stuff. So
yeah, like I said, Natalie fucking like stabbed her, and like Lottie mentioned like you almost blinded her. But they end up, it's nice we got to like this walk to like see the cult, like more of like the grounds. Although, it's kind of weird that we're getting this conversation now, because like obviously it was like nighttime when they confronted each other. So I'm like, what? Did you guys just like stare at each other for like 8 hours and then continue the conversation?
I guess so.
Because again, that ended off with Lottie being like, I have a message from Travis. And then I have a hard time believing Natalie wouldn't be like, okay, tell me what it is, like right now.
Yeah.
Well, with Lottie, like, I'll tell you in the morning, because I don't believe Natalie would just go to sleep and then be like, okay, we'll continue this conversation in the morning, that night.
Yeah, that was a little weird, yeah, that it was the next morning. Type of thing.
But yeah, they end up going into like a secluded room, which makes sense that Lottie kind of wants to have the conversation in private. And we get more details on Travis's death, presumably. Because again, Lottie is not a reliable narrator. So, and even Natalie points out, like, I believe you're hiding something. You're not telling me the whole story. And so like again, we don't know how much of this is bullshit, how much of this is true. So yeah, I am curious on like, what's up with this.
I'm proud of Lottie though. She's actually having like a conversation with somebody and actually telling somebody stuff.
Writing something, yeah, that's nice. Change of pace.
So
it's one time a year when Lottie's like, oh, what? It's almost New Year's, and I'm due for my telling the truth, like having a normal conversation for once.
Yeah, so good character.
He's got a quota.
Good character.
He has to have a normal conversation at least one time per year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we get a flashback to Travis, a modern day Travis, which is cool because we had only seen him. We heard his voice on the phone, and then we saw Natalie saw like a quick vision of him like in the mirror, and then we saw his like corpse, obviously.
Yes.
Like you pointed out off camera, I'm pretty sure they just had like past Travis like voice over modern day Travis.
I think so.
Because like at first I was like, oh wow, he sounds exactly like Travis. But then I'm like, once you said that, I'm like, oh shit, that might have been the case. So either he is like a 1-for-1 for past Travis, or like you said, yeah, they probably just did ADR.
I think that's I can't confirm nor deny it because I'm just guessing, but it sounds way too much like the past Travis,
which would normally be good casting. Like, oh shit, yeah, you found someone who sounds so similar. But it's weird because again, Travis is like 17, and now he's like in his 40s, so you figure he would sound different.
But I've never seen this actor before like anywhere else. So if he actually does sound like past Travis, I am going to have a conversation with you and be like, why do you sound like a 17-year-old too? So,
well, not just any 17-year-old, like a literal dead on for the fucking other Travis voice actor.
Yeah. I think I've talked about, I'll just talk about this too. I don't like the casting choice for this Travis. He doesn't really look like how you would think Travis would look at all. In his 40s, he looks way too much not like him at all, and it doesn't even seem like this would be Travis in his 40s. It's fine, I guess, just because we're only going to see Travis, you know, in flashbacks. But it's like, yeah, they could have picked a better person to cast as present day
Yeah,
Travis.
I'm neutral on it. I'm like, he's fine. Like, you know, he's not like, you know, I think, you know, some of the other, like, past and present actors are dead on. Whereas I'm kind of just neutral on it. I'm like, yeah, sure, I can see him looking like that. It's fine. But also, I'm really bad with faces and voices.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I'm really, like, one to, like, really be able to tell for that kind of thing.
I mean, I made mention off camera before. I'm just not at that moment yet in the show where I don't love present day Lottie compared to past Lottie, but we're not there yet. So,
Yeah, because that's another one where I'm like, I'm just kind of neutral on it. Like, I'm fine with it. But yeah, Lottie kind of tells like what happened that night. Where basically like we see a shot of Travis like before, you know, when he was by himself. He was like, you know, on his porch and like was hearing, you know, like staring out into like the woods near his house, which makes sense because we know he was kind of living out in the gray. We saw his house; it was kind of like in the middle of nowhere.
yeah.
A lot of trees around. You figure, you know, if I were him, I wouldn't want to see another fucking tree in my life.
Hey, it's it's whatever. It's Travis, you know.
Yeah. But well, I can say this because, you know, he's like staring out into the woods and he's like having a panic attack. And you know, Lottie says that she, you know, he gave her a call, like freaking out. He was like, you know, like she had never heard him like that, and she was super worried. And she ended up like driving overnight to go like speak with him. Which I like that detail that she had to like drive like a long time to like go to him, because Natalie and Misty had to go on a road trip for him, and we don't know where Lottie's like thing is. Like presumably it's also kind of far out.
Yeah.
But I'm saying I like that detail because, like I said, it's like, what are the odds Elijah Wood, you know, lives in the same town as Misty?
Right.
I like this detail of like, you know, okay, Lottie lives far out from everybody, and you know had to travel overnight for Ben, not Ben, Travis.
Yeah.
And like when she got to him, he was like talking erratically, and he's like saying how like, you know, like I figured out a way to like communicate with like I need to communicate with this thing. And like you know, like to figure out what it wants, which is interesting because you know, I mean, like Natalie said, he never believed in any of this shit, which I mean clearly isn't true. But now we're getting more detail on like what they know and what they don't know. So Travis is saying like whatever this thing is, they never figured out what is wanted while they were out there.
Yeah.
Because I'm presumably, you know, like, you know, there's still so much more past left to go into. I'm assuming we're going to get more, like, encounters with whatever the supernatural thing is. But apparently, whatever encounters happen, they never really get a good read on it.
Yeah, definitely. Which makes sense. This would be so much better, like, if Travis just started to believe this now versus the past. Like, it all just came... Oh, like, it was all too much for him to handle.
I figured we were going to get a bit more answers in the past on, like, you know, they were going to get a better read for, like, what this thing is exactly.
Yeah.
Or not even if not what it is, kind of just, like, what it wants.
Right.
Or, like, you know, idea of what it wants. But from this, presumably, they never got a single clue on, like, what it wanted at all.
I like to see them make a...
I don't know how I feel about that. Again, it's, like, it keeps it mysterious, but I'm like, damn, in the last few decades, you guys never figure it out at all, like, what... like anything about it.
I would like you know, them to try a few times in the past for them to figure it out, but never got like a full on answer or anything like that. Or they think they get an answer.
That's what I mean. Like I figured they didn't get a full on answer, but like from this, it sounds like they didn't get an answer. Period.
Yeah.
Like anything.
Well, like I would like it if they got an answer, but it wasn't the answer. It was like the wrong answer, or like it was the answer they thought was right, but then it ended up being wrong, like later on, type of thing.
Yeah. They thought they like kind of understood it, but then yeah, something happened. And it was like complete, you know, like got flipped on their head. Yeah. Okay. But yeah, you know, Travis says that like, you know, when you get close to death, you can like communicate with it. And he says, you know, like he uses examples specifically where he says, you know, it happened with Van and it happened with you. So that's interesting. Well, we get like quick flashes of like Lottie's visions, and one of the visions is like when Lottie like smacked her head on the window. I don't know if that's what they mean when they say Lottie, you know, because obviously we saw that as a near-death experience, you know, with the wolf attack.
Yes.
And he's saying, you know, you also had a near-death experience where you like were close to the spirit or whatever. But again, I'm like confused on what he means by that exactly. Is he talking about the doom coming?
Yeah.
Because you know, the supernatural thing was like controlling Lottie and the others. But that wasn't really a near-death experience. That was just like them getting high. And again, if he means like the seance, that wasn't really a near-death experience. Lottie just fucking bashed her head,
Right.
you know, on, you know, like that's not really near-death.
Unless we're gonna find out she actually was
That's what I mean.
possessed.
It sounds like something's gonna happen where Lottie got like really close to dying and like connected with this like spirit or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Lottie like kind of like pushed him against the wall and like pinned him down and like calmed him down, kind of like, you know, in the past when he had that panic attack.
But not well enough.
Yeah, but she ends up sleeping at his house that night to like keep an eye on him. You know, once they went to sleep, she woke up and, you know, like basically Travis had like, you know, told her like, I'm gonna like, you know, go to you know, like his job and like, you know, settle this essentially. So basically, like, she tried to calm him down, but like he was still fixated on, you know, communicating with this thing. So it was just interesting because it sounds like whatever this thing is has been like haunting Travis, like even after they got back home.
Yeah.
Which I'm interested in because again, it seemed like whatever this thing is was interested in Travis back in the Doom coming, like him specifically.
Right. That makes sense.
So now whatever, you know, because it seems like Shauna and like has not like been haunted at all.
Yeah. None of
So whatever
them.
this thing is was just like, I want Travis specifically, and he's like, why me?
Poor guy.
I know, right?
That could explain too why Travis like really falls off the wagon, and at points in his life and everything like that. If this thing's haunting him and everything like that, so
Yeah, like you literally cannot escape it. Yeah. Yeah, but and you know he left that note saying Natalie was right. We still don't know exactly what he meant by that. Did we get? I don't know. Did we get a feel for what he meant? Like, am I missing a detail? Because again, as far as we know, this didn't really like give us any idea of why he wrote Natalie was right.
I'm not sure.
Because while he's telling the story, I didn't know if she said something that.
Well, again,
Why?
again, dude, that's what's tough because of this continuity error too. Because we didn't know that Travis didn't. I think Travis wasn't supposed to believe in the supernatural stuff, but like that
Right.
that makes this that's what makes this whole thing complicated now, type of thing too.
It kind of makes me think. Because again, I already think Lottie's bullshitting, so I'm kind of thinking, you know, and we're seeing in the past that like Natalie is like super like butting heads with Lottie.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking, you know, Lottie was present when Travis died, but like she killed him basically.
Yeah.
And then, you know, like Travis left that letter, Natalie was right, and Natalie was right about Lottie.
Yeah. Or like you know, maybe Travis really was having this experiences, but like Lottie, you know, gave him this idea.
Lottie was the one like leading the effort in the Doom coming to like kill Travis.
Yeah.
So, you know, and we don't know we know her whole cult was about like communicating with this like spirit or whatever. So I think it would make sense that Lottie like is, you know, like on the wishes of the spirit, like hunted down Travis and like sacrificed him to the spirit because the spirit like wants him still.
Yeah.
So I mean that's my personal theory for this. Because again, I think Lottie was a little too. But again, the way she came off during the story, it's like literally like I've done no wrong.
Yeah.
Because as we see, Lottie rushed after him to the where his job was, and she saw that Travis had like you know left those marks and candles, and basically he had hooked himself up to like a crane, and he was gonna lift himself up and like basically like hang himself, but not kill himself, like get himself on the verge of death, and
Right.
then like lower himself before he like fully passes out. And at that point where he's near death, he can like communicate with the spirit.
Yep.
And Lottie tries to talk him out of it, but he's like, "Listen, I'm going to do this, whether you help me or not. Like, I don't really care, And she says, like, "Okay, fine. I'll take the remote. I'll lift you up. But like, as soon as you go unconscious, I'm lowering you." He gets lifted up, and he's like 2 feet off the ground. And then Lottie tries to lower him as he's like kicking and like falling unconscious, but the remote stops working.
Right. This is like the part of the story.
And like, what, you expect me to believe Travis died because a remote, like the button just happened to jam?
Right.
And another reason why I think Lottie's bullshitting is because, as we saw, Travis was only like 2 feet above the ground when he died. But then Lottie ends up seeing something, and then when it cuts back to after the vision ends, Travis was like way the fuck high up.
Yeah. So
again, that makes me think Lottie's bullshitting, because in her story, he was only like a couple feet above the ground, and she tried to lower him, but she couldn't.
Yeah.
And then it cuts back, and obviously we saw last time like in season 1 when Natalie got to the scene, Travis was like way the fuck high up.
Yeah.
So I think that's like an environmental hit to like show like not Lottie's bullshitting.
I mean, I don't need any hints. I'm pretty sure Lottie's bullshit, and this whole story could be bullshit, or this did happen.
That's what I'm curious how much of it is bullshit and how much of it is like truth.
Yeah.
I think she's telling the truth that she was there when Travis died. But I don't think she's being honest about like the exact circumstances. Again, I think she had a much bigger hand in his death than she's letting on. Because she comes off too much as like an innocent victim. Like, oh my god, she tried to calm Travis down. She chased after him to the plant, and like she tried to talk him out of hanging himself. And she like only went along with it and tried to lower him immediately. Like, I don't buy any of that. Especially
considering the fact that with Lottie's past, she doesn't necessarily try to talk anyone out of anything. She just lets the story play out as she wants it.
If anything, she was like instigating in a lot of cases.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But if this actually is how Travis died, though, that's gonna be really disappointing. Just because too, like, this is a big thing from season 1 and if this is actually how he died, like, that would suck. Like.
Yeah, I agree. Because again, like I said, it's making Lottie too much of like an innocent person in all of this. And like you said, like it doesn't feel like Travis like to like be doing this.
Yeah, especially too because they spent the whole season.
Like he was like being paranoid, and he like obviously like wasn't acting like himself. They even point out, like he was acting stupidly. But like it doesn't. I just don't buy it.
Especially considering the fact that
like no other details. Like this is just the story. I'm gonna be disappointed for sure.
Especially considering the fact that all of season 1 was trying to figure out whether or not Travis did kill himself or not, and the ending with Lottie made us think like he didn't, type of thing. So it'd be kind of disappointing if then he just did, type of thing, because that cliffhanger with Lottie will be kind of disappointing if he just ended up dead killing himself. But again, I'm gonna withhold judgment on this because there's other things that I could talk about with this scene, but we have to get further into the show before I can say any of these things.
The whole thing was just me, like, theory. I don't know anything. I'm presuming you know more than I do. I'm assuming this isn't the end of it. Like, if they just don't mention this at all for the rest of the season, that's gonna be bullshit.
Right.
Because I already like left it pretty vague in season 1, but like I'm hoping we get like a definitive answer like in season 2.
Yeah.
Like in season 3. But basically, as Travis died, Lottie got a vision. It wasn't Travis, or presumably it wasn't Travis. It was Lottie who got a vision. We see from the shadows emerging a girl in a dress, and Lottie recognizes the dress right away. It's Laura.
Yeah,
she's wearing more before. And Laura comes out of the shadows looking exactly like she did in the past. But then all of a sudden, like her skin goes gray, her eyes go black, and like a bunch of black veins come over her, and she just screeches. And Lottie is horrified. Of course she was like so happy at first, like, oh my god. Well, I'm curious if she was happy about seeing Laura, or if she knew this was like the spirit.
Yeah.
inhabiting Laura, I guess. And then, as Laura became like demonic, Lottie like is horrified and like covers her ears and eyes. But then she like picks her head back up and she's just like, she again, like I said, Travis is like now way fucking high in the air, and I'm like, okay, that's interesting.
Yeah. So what if something happened now?
Because again, she said the buttons broke, and like it seemed like Travis was like stationary, like he was only a couple feet off the ground, and like he wasn't raising up. And then Lottie, this again makes me suspicious. Lottie quickly like grab hurry to grab the candle and turn off the candle and like presumably left.
Yeah.
And now I get why she would leave because it looks like a murder scene. We saw Natalie and Misty left the scene before the cop showed up. But I'm like, nah, that's too suspicious. There's more to it.
Yeah, there's definitely got to be more to it. I just don't know what that more is.
I'm also like, even Natalie points out, like, okay, I don't buy this. Like one, I don't buy that the buttons happen to jam at that specific moment. And two, like, I can tell there's more to it. Like, there's something you're not.
Yeah, I like that Natalie didn't buy it because, it would have been very out of character for her to not buy it because she knows Travis and everything like that. So I like that she didn't buy it.
And it makes me curious about Laura Lee because and when Jackie died, we saw that like dream and like, and she saw the dead guy, and it seems like the dead guy and Jackie's spirits are like trapped, and it makes me wonder if like Laura Lee, when she died, she's also like trapped, or like the spirit is like trapping them with it essentially.
Yeah, that makes me a question. That's a good thing to question.
Which that sucks ass. Whenever a show does this, where it's like, no, they don't die, they fucking like get trapped in hell. Like Yu-Gi-Oh!
Yeah.
They censored it in the English version. In the Japanese version, like they would just die. But in the American version, they get sent to the Shadow Realm. And that's their way of censoring that they died. But like, that sounds weird. Like in order to like make it seem like more kid friendly, they make it worse. Like not only are you dying, you're getting fucking trapped in hell forever.
I know, and it sucks for Laura Lee because she was so religious and everything like that. It sucks that she's like trapped there.
I'm like, God, I'm so religious and such a good person. But now the spirit was like, nah, bitch, you ain't ascended to heaven. You're fucking stuck with me forever.
Yeah, the spirit's really powerful and everything like that.
Yeah. I mean, the spirit's just a dick.
Yeah.
I'm like, man, dude, you can't even like. Not only you're gonna kill me, you're gonna fucking trap me with you forever.
I mean, maybe this is just a 9-to-5 job to him, AJ. Maybe this is.
Yeah, he's just like I'm a little rascal. I'm a little asshole. This is what I do.
Maybe he's like Nightmare Terry from Rick and Morty. This is how this is how he makes his living.
You know what? He's really lonely in the woods. He's probably just bored. He's like, oh, fucking some people, sweet. All right, cool. I can like have a conversation now. So like the last couple decades,
yeah,
Laura Lee, Jackie have just been like hanging out with the spirit, just like shooting the shit. They're like, man, I'm really bored. Hey, can you like let our souls go? And he's like, nah, not for years.
I like to think too, like he got the company that he wanted to. He's like, okay, everyone else can just get rescued now. I don't need to see these people anymore, type of thing. Like I've had my fun.
Well, now that's why he's sort of hunting Travis. He's like, not really like Laura and Jackie are starting to like annoy him. It's like, fuck. All right, I want that Travis guy. He seems cool.
It sounds. You sound. What's the name of that person we just saw in Dragon Ball? Where, like he kept kidnapping all the women. So like he got.
Oh yeah, Oolong. Where he kept kidnapping the girls, like make his wives, but they ended up like just taking over his house. Yeah, that's funny.
I like to think that's what's going on with the spirit in YellowJackets. They're just taking over like his realm or whatever. So that's why he's trying to get Travis type of thing to like.
Yeah. The spirit's like bros before hoes. I want to hang out with them.
Yeah. And now he gets to because Travis died, so that's good. Him and
Yeah. Now I want to see that spinoff. The Force Gear and Travis like buddy cop. They're just going around and haunting the other YellowJackets.
I like to think Travis is just failing miserably, type of thing. It's like
I was like, it's like that SpongeBob episode with the Flying Dutchman, where Travis is like, boo. And then Sean is like, that guy's a dork. And the spirit's like, yes, but he's my dork.
That'd be awesome.
I would love that.
Do you think so? Would Adam be with the spirit too? I like to think that Adam.
Fuck, Adam has nothing to do with the plane crash, but I would love it. Fucking Travis is SpongeBob and Adam is Patrick, and the spirit is the Flying Dutchman.
And Adam just shows up at like the most.
And Jackie is Squidward. Jackie was complaining, so the spirit put her in that zipper where she's just like falling forever.
And what's Laura Lee? Because he's.
Oh, that's a good point. What the fuck is Laura Lee? She's the ship. They're all just like riding around the Laura Lee.
There you go.
She died in the plane crash. So everyone that's how they get around. They get around in Laura Lee's like ghost plane.
Oh, I was gonna say, did she turn into a ship type of thing? It's like.
Oh, no, I like that better. Laura Lee fucking became. I love it.
Yeah. But yeah, so that was well, that's not it for Natalie and Lottie's thing. There's one more thing out of that, like
Yeah, but Natalie's basically like, look, Lottie, like, this whole thing's bullshit. Like, I'm going to take down your cult. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to take it down. And Lottie isn't even, like, upset by these threats. She's like, well, as long as you want to, like, take me down, like, I know you're going to stay alive, so that's cool. Works for me.
yeah.
So that's kind of funny how Lottie just doesn't give a shit that Natalie wants to, like, ruin everything that she's built. She's like, oh, cool, so you're not going to kill yourself? Awesome.
I don't know if I liked that reaction, but whatever. So,
well, I mean, I feel like you've known Natalie long enough to know that this kind of just like how Natalie is.
Yeah. I mean, it makes sense. I like that Natalie doesn't get easily, like, brainwashed and stuff as other people.
She's not fighting. She's not sipping any of Lottie's lemonade, or smoothie, if you will, because she threw away that smoothie earlier.
I thought it was a latte, but okay.
Or latte, whatever. Fuck it. Maybe it was the piss bucket making a return.
Sure.
Yeah. But Natalie's like, okay, so where's the nearest train? How the fuck do I get out of here? I love that she just threatened Lottie, and now she's like, so where's the nearest train? How do I leave?
Yeah.
Lottie's like, it's too late for that. You have to stay the night and leave them. Convenient.
Does Natalie have any? Does Natalie even have any money to get out of there too? Like, she's gonna have to like hit.
I was gonna say, if I were Natalie, I'd be like, where the fuck am I? What state are we in? What town are we in? Like, where the fuck are we?
Yeah.
But yeah, Natalie goes to like her room. I guess she just like has a room now. She's not changed his bed this time. But then as she like gets on the bed, she starts having visions of it seems to be like doctors in like an ambulance like checking on her.
Yeah.
And then like springs up. I'm confused on this because we've never had Natalie have vision before. And I'm kind of confused on what this is. Like, I don't know if this is like Natalie seeing her own future or like she's getting a vision of like the past. Because we know Natalie's like a drug addict. So it could be she like overdosed in the past and this is what her in the ambulance.
Yeah, so I have to see what this is. If it's something
He's like having a vision of Lottie's past. I was gonna say Travis, but like Travis died before anyone got there. So I'm curious if like this is like a vision from her point of view or like somebody else.
Yeah, so I have to see what this is about.
Yeah, or if like it's the past or the future.
But everything with Natalie and Lottie.
Plot line. Probably the strongest one this episode. I really liked it. Again, so much of it was like Lottie's flashback with Travis, and I don't know what to make heads or tails of it yet. I am like 95% sure like Lottie was bullshitting for most of it, or at least half of it.
Yeah.
Again, it ends up being that Lottie was mostly telling the truth. That I'm going to be a little disappointed.
Yeah, overall, I really liked this. When I saw this at the time, I really liked this. But we'll come back to this and talk about it later in the season.
Yeah. So, yeah. And then we got two more plot lines. I guess we'll go with Thaisa's because it's pretty short. Basically, Thaisa, we get like a little montage of her just trying to stay awake as much as she can. She's drinking like fucking 5 cups of coffee. She's, working out. She's like doing all of her paperwork, at Senator. And then we see her at like her makeup table, and she like takes a bunch of pills, presumably like pills that help her stay awake.
Yeah.
Then we see her kind of just like slumped over, and like looking off like into the distance. And then this was really cool. Like the mirror like turns its head.
Yeah.
But like Thaisa doesn't. So like obviously it's like symbolizing that like her like split personality, the lady in the tree, is like moving.
Yeah.
And I think this makes me wonder if Thaisa was conscious for the rest of the episode at all.
Right, yeah, that's a good question.
This makes me think like this head turning because I thought it was just like, oh, it's symbolic, like that this other person is just like watching Taissa, waiting for her to slip up and fall asleep so she can take over. But with what happens, it makes me think, like because it's interesting because in the past it seems like the sleepwalking is just not sleepwalking, like she doesn't like speak and she's just like focused on what she's doing.
Yeah.
Whereas it seems like modern day, this lady in the tree like has a mind of its own. It can like talk and do things.
Yeah, so that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Because again, like it seems like in the past, it bit Van and it like was like walking towards the cliff.
Mm-hmm.
But I saw like, okay, whatever the split personality is, it like killed the dog, beheaded it, and then like hid it and created a shrine like in an area no one would find it.
Right.
So like it seems like whatever this thing is, this like personality, like it's gotten smarter over the years, like and it can kind of like act in like more elaborate ways.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that.
Yeah, because Taissa goes downstairs and she's like, "Oh, Sammy's here," and Taissa's like happy to see him because she hasn't seen him in a long time. She's like, "I'm like, what happened? Like, where's mommy? Like, why aren't you at school?" And she's like, "Oh, I skipped school and I came here to come see you." And Thais is like happy to see him, which I like that she, she's a mom, she hasn't seen him in a long time. But she's also like, God, Simone's gonna get pissed at me.
I like this too because
cool.
I like this too because it was like in the past Taissa was worried about Shauna hallucinations and all that stuff, and now Thais is kind of having the same thing. What we think here kind of happened to her now. So
right. Well, again, I'm curious on like if like Taissa has been like sleeping during all this, and like the lady in the the way I guess I'll skip ahead a little bit. They get a big car crash, and Simone looks pretty injured. This makes me wonder if like the lady in the tree was like hallucinating this on purpose to like get Simone out of the way.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
No, I was just saying. Yeah, like maybe that could be the case, type of thing. So.
Oh, okay. So that was me thinking like the lady in the tree is like, fuck, Simone like found my shit and she like threatened to like expose me. I gotta get rid of her.
Yeah, well,
and,
I'm wondering the same thing. So.
Yeah. Or if this is just like, yeah. So like you said, she's just hallucinating like Shauna was. But yeah, she calls Simone and being like, "Hey, Sammy's here, but like, before you say anything, like I didn't like pick him up or anything. Like he just came here on his own." And Simone's not buying it. She's like, "Oh my god, yeah, of course, right?" And I felt really bad for Taissa here. Because I was like, "Oh yeah, no, poor Taissa."
Yeah.
But yeah, Simone, drops what she's doing and goes to the house because of course she's worried about Sammy being with Taissa when she's like unhinged. And we see Taissa was like dozing off on the table, but she wakes up. And like, the door was locked. And, Simone's like, "Hey, let me in, Taissa." And Taissa's like, "Oh shit, I locked you out the door." And she like, is like, Simone's like, "You knew I was coming. Why'd you lock the door?" And she's like, "Oh, sorry, I guess I just did it out of habit." And that, again, that's what makes me think the lady in the tree was like, acting, like doing all this. Because, again, obviously, the implication is Taissa didn't lock the door. It was the lady in the tree that did it.
Yeah.
I keep calling her the lady in the tree like she's always in the tree, when obviously this whole time she isn't in the tree.
Well, we don't know.
She's the lady.
She's the lady what?
In the tree. She's the lady who is sometimes in the tree.
There you go.
Yeah. So, she's like, "So where is Sammy?" And you're like, "Oh, probably in his room." And Simone's like, "Oh, so you left him alone?" And they go up to his room and like his window's open, but he's gone. So like, oh god.
So what we meant to think he took off.
Yeah. So again, that makes me think like the lady in the tree is doing this on purpose. Like she left the window open specifically to make it look like Sammy ran away.
Yeah.
So they're driving around like looking for him, but they get a call from the school. Oh no, they call the school to be like, "Oh, maybe he like just left and went back to school."
No, the school called them.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, school calls them. They're like, "Hey, Sammy's been here, like waiting for his mom to show up. If you're gonna be late, can you like let us know?" And they're like, "Oh, thank God, we know where he is." Okay, so I guess what he just like walked back to school And they're like, no, he's been in my office for the last 2 hours. Like, this isn't a boarding school. Pick him up.
Yeah.
And then Thais and Simone both realized what happened. And, well, I do like, because I think Simone thought that Thaisa, like, picked him up and was just, like doing this to, like, see Simone and, like, have a conversation with her.
Yeah.
Because, earlier at the house, Thaisa was like, hey, like, well, no, when they were in the car before the school called, she was like, hey, I mean, at least we get to, like, be together and spend time with each other.
Yeah.
I guess Simone was thinking, oh, Thaisa just picked up Sam to, like, have a conversation with me or whatever. But no, then they pieced together, like, no, not Simone, Thaisa is, like, still mentally ill, and she was, like, hallucinating Sammy being at the house. And we get, like, redone shots of earlier scenes where Sammy was in the background, but now we're seeing Sammy was never at the house at all.
Yep. And I felt like it was a good reveal, like, because the school said, no, he's been here the past 2 hours, and then they showed that, so that was I like that, that was kind of like a cue to, like, show that type of thing, so.
Yeah, and Simone looks at Thaisa like, okay, you need help, seriously. And I could tell, like, something was going on, because Thaisa, like, kept staring at Simone, she was looking at the road, and we, again, see her kind of just, like, looking into the distance, like, not paying attention. And we hear like the noise kind of get drowned out from Thaisa's point of view. But Thaisa, the face she's making, again, it makes me wonder if this is like the lady in the tree, not even Thaisa at all.
Yeah.
Because she speeds up, and another car slams into it, and it's on Simone's side, and like the damage looks fucking bad.
Really bad.
So
yeah.
Simone's dead, he's like severely injured. Although if you remember in season 1, they did a similar thing. Where Simone, Thaisa was driving, and she, like, almost hit a guy.
Yeah, and I said this was going to come back, and it did come back, so.
Yeah. But again, this makes me wonder if this was, like, on purpose or not.
Yeah.
Well, I would say Thaisa on purpose, but, like, if, like, her split personality did it to, like, get rid of Simone.
Yeah, and it makes all the sense in the world if this is the split personality, because all the things add up, making up Sammy, locking the door, leaving the window open so that way they would have to go find Sammy, and then like I said, get into the car accident, all makes sense. So that is a good question if the lady in the tree did this just to get Simone out of the way and do...
Yeah. By the way, if Thaisa, after all this, is still like, nah, I'm going to be senator, I'm not going to, like, do anything, I'm not going to get any mental health, then my God. Because... Okay, first of all, I hope Simone isn't dead. I feel like that'd be disappointing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you can do a lot, like, because I was really interested in last episode, like, oh shit, Simone knows Thais is fucking cuckoo.
Right.
Like, that's going to, and, if Simone lives through this, that's going to be really interesting, that's going to create even more conflict. Like, oh my God, Thais, you almost fucking killed me.
Yep.
So if Simone is just, like, dead from this, I'm going to be kind of disappointed. But either way, if Thais after this is still like, nah, I'm perfectly fine, I don't need to, like, do anything, then, like, my God, Thaisa, like, literally nothing will get you to go to therapy. If somebody had a gun to Sammy's head, it's like, you need to attend one therapy session, she'd be like, you're gonna have to fucking kill Sammy because I'm never going to therapy.
Yeah. I do like this, though, too, just because it makes sense that the lady in the tree would want to get rid of Simone because she knows too much. So
we made that fun comparison in the worm episode where Thaisa is Mr. Krabs. She's like, I'd rather that worm come in here right now and eat you all alive.
Yeah.
I'd rather the lady in the tree come in here right now and kill you all before I go to therapy.
Yeah. But the stuff with Thaisa was very interesting. I'm interested to see where that goes and everything like that.
Yeah. I really liked it. Probably my second favorite thing of the episode besides the Natalie thing. And the last plot line is Shauna. So I went on a rant about Shauna last episode and how stupid she was. I liked her a lot more this episode. This episode, her plot line is mainly Callie POV this episode, but we get a lot of good stuff with Shauna.
Yeah.
So we get, Callie is still holding onto that piece of Adam's driver's license all burnt up. And, we kind of just see her kind of just, like, sitting around a lot in this and, like, kind of staring off into the distance and, like, storming off a lot. She's clearly upset. And don't know if this is before or after. It doesn't really matter. It's kind of separated from everything. But she's in bed with her boyfriend Kyle, and Kyle, like clearly like just had sex because like Callie's in her underwear and like Kyle's shirtless. And Callie just keeps like saying really vague, depressing shit. Like Kyle's like, "Hey, how come you're vaping so much?" She's like, "Maybe I'm doing it to vape my life." And I'm like, "Okay, fuck it." Even the face Kyle makes, he's like, "Okay, cool." He's like, "I don't know what you want me to say, here."
Right.
And then he's like, "Hey, like it's because Callie's like, oh, my parents don't give a shit about what I do." And he's like, "Well, hey, that's good. It gives us more time to like, do whatever we want." And now clearly he's just like a fuckboy. Like that gives the impression that he's kind of just like really shallow, and he's like, "Hey, cool, it gives me more time to like bang you."
Yeah, pretty much.
That's nice for me. But then he gets a text as he's about to kiss her from his mom that she made like pancakes for them. And Callie just like gets up, puts on her clothes, and is like, "I'm breaking up with you."
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, it's like, it's funny, because obviously Kyle's just like a fuckboy. And because Callie's like, "You're such a child," and storms off. And later on, when she meets up with her friend, she's like, "Oh yeah, Kyle keeps like texting me, wondering like what he did wrong." And Callie like smiles and laughs. I'm like, okay, so wait, are we supposed to believe he did something wrong? Because like he didn't actually like do anything wrong. He just kind of like boy.
Yeah, I like.
But like, the impression I got with Callie is just like, she doesn't really give a shit about her relationship with him that much. Like he's just like the guy she's dating.
Yeah,
and she just like took out her anger like on him.
I think too. Because her parents haven't really showed her like love and care too. So when his mom's like, "My mom wants to know if we want pancakes," that was kind of like the final straw too. Like. It's like the loves that she's wanted from her parents all these years that she's not really getting, type of thing.
Yeah. I was just confused. I'm like, she's like, "You're such a child," and stormed off. I was like, all right, wait, he didn't actually do anything wrong. Are we supposed to think he did something wrong?
Yeah.
Because the impression I got was Callie just like you said, taking out her anger on Kyle. Which, yeah, I mean, Kyle's like just a nothing character. Like I said, he's just kind of like a fuckboy.
Maybe he'll be something though. He could show up again, type of thing.
I'm assuming he's just a one-off. Well, I mean, we're not one-off because we saw him earlier.
Yeah.
But I'm assuming we're not him again.
I do like though that like she was considering breaking up with him, sort of anyways. So it's not like this is random type of thing.
Yeah, well, because last time, when Shauna said something, she was like, "Hey, maybe I'll break up with them." Relationships clearly don't work out. Well, I thought she said that more to like spite Shauna, but yeah, I mean, I think she did say she was thinking about it anyway.
Yeah.
Well, again, the impression I got was like it was just like a relationship. They didn't really like love each other like that much.
Right.
They kind of just like fucked around basically.
Yeah.
But yeah. Then later on, she gets kind of sitting on her bed, like staring off at the wall. And again, like I said, last episode, Shauna was a moron. Like, she just, like, wasn't... I guess she didn't want to go into detail. But, like, I'm like, Shauna, like, put a little more effort in. Come on. Like, don't just say, Jeff knows, and that's it.
Yeah.
Like, don't... Like give Callie something. Like, because I'm like, do you want to get caught? Because it really seems like you want to get caught.
Right.
But here, she's, like, actually kind of trying to reach out to Callie. She sees how distraught Callie is. And she's like, "Hey, why don't we go do something? Have like a mom-daughter date. Go to the mall. Like run up your dad's credit card. And joking around."
I do question if she was gonna have maybe somewhat of a conversation with Callie to make her feel better at this point, or if they were just gonna hang out type of thing. Maybe it would have come out naturally.
Yeah, I assume this was one. Yeah, it was a way to kind of like extend an olive branch and like have them, like go have fun for a little bit, and then she would like kind of bring it up.
Yeah. That
was my presumption. But Callie kind of just like shuts her down, like, "No, I'm hanging out with her later." Obviously, we know that's a lie because they broke up.
Yeah.
And then Shauna shuts the door, and then we get a nice shot of like Shauna like kind of like looking down, like sad, like she pauses, like she wants to like say more, but then she kind of walks off.
Yeah. You got both.
And and it seems to be like one, it's like for years they've had a strained relationship. and now that like Shauna kind of wants to like, like have a serious conversation with her, she like doesn't know how to.
Yeah, and especially too, the relationship's been so messed up now that Callie goes off to college and stuff. Is Callie gonna come around much? Because the relationship was so bad anyways. Is Callie gonna want it now that she's gonna have her own independence? Is she gonna want to have anything to do with her parents anymore? Like, will she even see her anymore? Type of thing. So
right. Yeah. So again, this is already so much more of an improvement over last episode. It shows that it does a great job showing that Shauna cares, but of course, like I said, years of a strained relationship, she doesn't know how to really, interact with Callie or like show Callie she cares.
Yeah.
And again, it just does a better job of her trying. Like again, I think the implication was like they were going to go to the mall, and Shauna would like initiate a conversation about Adam.
Yeah.
Because again, last episode, I'm like, she just kind of like brushes it off. I'm like, okay, no, Shauna, your daughter thinks you murdered a guy. Like, I get you don't want to, like go into detail because you did actually murder him, but like do something, like literally anything aside from what you just did.
Yeah. Maybe.
And again, they did exactly that. I'm like, okay, cool, thank you, Shauna. You are not being a dumbass.
Unfortunately, it's just too late.
Well, again, it's realistic. Where I'm like, yeah, it makes sense. Shauna would fuck up here. Like, she wouldn't be able to really reach out to Callie because of their strained relationship.
Yeah.
So again, I'm fine with characters like failing or being stupid as long as it makes sense.
Yeah.
Last episode, it did not make sense to me.
Oh, not at all.
And continuing the good job with Shauna and Callie's like strained relationship, who shows up? But Kevin. That's cool because again, Kevin was just kind of like a Natalie plotline character. But at the end of season 1, it kind of gave the impression that like Kevin and Natalie like are done. He kind of just like wished her well. He's like, I hope things work out for you. And the implication is that like they're done with each other and they're not really going to interact anymore.
And I like this too, just because that they brought Kevin back because I thought he did the guy who played Kevin did a really good job last time, and it makes sense.
Well, again, like I said, I thought he was not going to be in the show anymore, so it's cool that they brought him back.
Yeah,
and it makes sense because small town. He's a cop, and he went to high school with Shauna as well. Obviously.
Yeah.
And he shows up, and they're like, "Oh, cool! It's so good to see each other." But then basically, Kevin, he's pretty upfront about it. He's friendly to her, but he's like upfront, like, "Hey, listen, do you know Adam?" And Sean's like lying, like, "Adam? Not ringing a bell." But then when she sees the picture, he's like, "Oh yeah, I had a fender bender with him like a while ago, I guess." Which again, I think it makes sense to Shauna like to admit to that much at least.
Yeah.
Because if the cop is here, obviously, he knows something.
I like to think though that Kevin kind of did this like a little bit off the books since they're friends, like type of thing. Like went to a house and like said like, "Hey, this probably could be something. This might not be anything," type of thing. I don't think he did because he wasn't in the uniform or anything like that either, type of thing. So.
Well, again, the impression is like he came here as a friend, kind of, but also he's still doing his job.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then he's like, "Okay, well, we know for a fact you guys texted him, with each other a few times." And she's like, "Well, yeah, but he was just kind of being a bit of an asshole about the insurance. Like, so yeah, we were texting, but like nothing really beyond that."
Yeah.
Because Callie's in.
Because this from Criminal Justice, you could see records of it, but you can't see exactly what they were texting back and forth. They'll just show up in records that they've been texting. So. Yeah,
they would have to like. Get permission and shit to like actually check the text, like because if they were able to actually check like the specific text, they'll know they were having an affair.
Oh, I'm just asking though. Like, I assume it just shows in records like who they've been contacted, but not specifics of what the information is and stuff.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Is they would probably need to like more probable cause to like check the text, but they can just check to see who he was texting in general.
Yeah. And how do they find this out? Because because they would need his. And how do they find this in the records? Because obviously they would need his phone. Is there other ways they can find this out? Maybe like iPhone type of stuff, or like what?
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, probably like so much shit is like backed up. It could have just like backed up his contacts,
Okay.
things like that. There's ways to. I mean, I'm not sure exactly how they did it because like obviously they have his phone, but like I'm sure there's like some way to like check the record at least.
Yeah.
But yeah, Callie kind of intervenes and is like, "Hey, mom, we're going to the mall. Remember?" And he's like, "Oh, okay, gotcha. So I'll come back later and like ask more questions." And Shauna's like, "Oh, more questions? Do I need a lawyer?" And Kevin's like, no, just more questions in general."
Yeah.
But that Shauna already knew that like she was being questioned like, but I think it makes sense for her to like, because if I were like, if I would ask that question, like, "Oh, am I like under investigation? Do I need a lawyer?"
Right.
So I think it makes sense for Shauna, like, she obviously knows, like, that she's under investigation if Kevin's here, like, asking questions about him.
I feel like it makes sense, too, because Misty, in the mock interview, like, mentions, like, you never talk to a cop unless you get a lawyer. So that's why I think Shauna asked if I need a lawyer type of thing.
Yeah. Well, I think Shauna's also like, fuck, like, he has more questions. Like, she was kind of hoping that would be the end of it, but no, obviously, it's going to be...
It kind of makes sense, too, because it's not like, too, she's asking, because typically when someone asks a question like that, but also, too, it's not like Shauna has a lot of money and stuff, so it makes sense that she would ask, like, do I need a lawyer? Because it's like, okay, so I'll do, because she's a stay-home mom, and, like, her and Jeff don't have the greatest careers, so it's like, oh, great, do I have to, like, look for a lawyer type of thing, so...
Yeah, Kevin leaves, Shauna thanks Callie, and Callie's like being pretty upfront, like, "Why'd you lie to a cop?" And Shauna's like, "Oh, well, like, I don't want, of course, if I say I was having an affair with him, like, they're gonna like suspect me."
Yeah.
And it's gonna become a whole thing. And also, like, I don't want like people to like know, I cheated on your dad, like. And she's like, "Oh, so you're protecting yourself?" And she's like, "Well, no, I'm protecting your dad because, like, I don't want, it's gonna like humiliate him." Which again is like fucked up. Like, obviously Shauna can't come out and like say I murdered the guy.
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of fucked up to be like, "Oh, well, I'm actually protecting your dad by lying to the cop."
Right. But she's just really bullshitted to Callie anyways, type of thing. So
yeah. And then Callie's like storming off, but Shauna's like, "Callie, Cal," and then she says Cal was like her nickname.
Yeah.
Presumably when she was a kid. And when she says Cal, like, Callie actually like turns around and like, it gives the impression like Shauna's gonna like maybe say something more, or like kind of like, maybe comfort her a bit, or like reveal more of the truth. But then she just says, "He's probably still outside. Go out the back, please."
Right.
And it's like, wow, Shauna, really?
Yeah, I know.
So again, I like that. It's showing Shauna is a really shitty mom, but like in a believable way. I buy it.
I buy this too,
And
yeah.
I really feel bad for Callie here.
Yeah, I like that the story was told in Callie's point of view. I think this was kind of like Callie's first real moment as like a main type of character, not like a recurring character or anything like that. So I like this.
Yeah, because like I said, Shauna's plot for this episode was mainly Callie Field. Like I said, then we see Callie and her friend just like at a bar, I guess. Like, I guess they just have like fake IDs or something.
I mean, IOL, the actress is 30, so whatever. I'm cool with this.
Which again, I'm surprised by. She really does look like a teenager.
Yeah.
But her, like I said earlier, her friend jokes about how Kyle's like confused on why they broke up, and her friend jokes like, "Oh, hey, maybe go pick up, maybe go flirt with that guy at the bar doing crosswords." And she's like, "Okay, sure, I will." And her friend's like, "I was joking."
Because she also mentioned.
I like how her reasoning was he does crosswords and he could be a serial killer, and not that like he's obviously an adult and we're like teenagers.
Yeah. Also, too, she mentioned that this guy was like checking her out and everything like that too, type of thing. So.
Oh, okay.
Because that's it.
Yeah, Callie goes over and like starts flirting with him, and she's kind of and she's just like, satanic is the answer for that crossword, and he's like, no, it isn't, because you didn't even read the hint.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, okay, well, if I get it right, or like if I read the hint, will you get me a drink? He's like, okay, yeah, sure. Hey, I'll get a fireball, get something for this girl. And they just kind of flirt a bit. She asks like what he does, and he jokes that he's like a pilot by day. or like Pilot by Night or whatever. And she's like, no, but like really, like my parents are going through a divorce after like years of a shitty marriage, and I'm just in town, helping out my mom.
Mm-hmm.
And when we get the reveal there that he's a cop and like he was tailing Callie, it's kind of cool. Like he said that to like, get Callie to like talk about her parents.
Yeah, that made sense.
Yeah, and she's like, oh yeah, well my parents were actually having a tough time, and like my mom was cheating on my dad. I found out, and he's like, oh wow, well hey, two peas in a pod, right?
Yeah.
Also, this cop makes me suspicious because, again, he's a cop and he's like getting an alcoholic drink for a minor.
Yeah, very suspicious. He just has a weird method of doing things because, as we find out, he hasn't been actually a cop for that long, only like a year. So,
yeah, because he's talking with Kevin. He's like, so I tailed Callie, or I tailed the daughter, and she admitted that the mom was having an affair. So, like, clearly it's Adam. And I'm interested. Okay, so I'm interested in both of these. This guy seems like so forward, and like I said, I'm curious what his intentions are. Like, from what Kevin says, it's like, oh yeah, he's just like he's only been a cop for a year, so maybe he's just he's a rookie. He's being aggressive,
yeah,
or he's being over aggressive. But it makes me wonder, like, is that the case, or does he have like some kind of like hidden intention? And with Kevin, the guy even points out, like, listen, man. Like, I get it. You went to school with this girl, and like, she's a yellow jacket. Like maybe you're, or don't let your like emotions get in the way.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like you said, it could be that Kevin kind of went there to give her a heads up that like she's under suspicion.
Yeah, I like the twist that he was a cop. It does make more sense when you watch the episode back knowing he's a cop because of the questions that he asks and everything like that. But I remember when I saw this at the time. Because it was showing Kevin, and then it showed this guy, like it showed him again, type of thing, and I'm like, wait a minute, who the hell is this guy? Like, because also too, I had commercials and stuff I had to sit through, so like I was actually sitting through like the whole episode, so I'm like, what the hell have I seen him before? So I like rewound it. I'm like, oh wait a minute, it's this guy, because I liked he was wearing the same outfit like the next day we saw him to show that it was the same guy.
Mustache for a second. I'm like, no, that is actually his mustache. That'd be really funny if he was wearing a fake mustache.
Yeah, but I thought this was a cool moment because it really caught.
He should shave it, or he should tell people it's a fake mustache.
Yeah,
because it's good.
But I thought this was a cool moment, and I thought this was a really nice surprise type of thing. I will say this: they probably should have just not done the cop thing at the moment. I know it's logical. But this kind of ends up being the weakest story of the present is everything with Adam's death and everything like that. It feels like it should have ended after episode 2, or like they should have had it makes sense. It makes sense that the cops have to get involved, but they drag this out for like a while, like the rest of the season.
Well, yeah, it kind of hammers home that like they did a shitty job of making him on vacation. Because Kevin even points out like, oh yeah, Adam's been missing for a couple days. Like a couple days, and it hasn't even been a fucking week yet.
Yeah, but I think
there's a full-blown investigation, a cop investigation. People on Reddit are like wondering. We joke about it. But like it really is like, oh shit, Adam is always around the corner. So people are like, oh shit, Adam isn't here. That's so weird. Where the fuck is he?
And I really liked season 2. Really hammers that home, even in death. Right when the characters think they're in a comfort zone, Adam is still haunting people in a spirit type of thing. So
exactly, Adam is always around. Adam is eternal.
Yeah.
Again, him and Travis are with the Force Ghost. Just scaring people.
Yeah, but this isn't. But again, this does kind of like this storyline kind of just takes like it's not necessarily a bad story, but it just lingers on a little bit too long when they keep doing this type of thing.
Yeah, I kind of hope it stops being about Adam. Like Adam is what gets the cops involved, but like then all the stuff about Lottie and the blackmailer and stuff kind of like. It's kind of like the case starts off as about Adam, but then it kind of just like spans and snowballs into everything else.
Yeah, that'd be good. But yeah, overall, I like the Shauna plot for the most part. I like the reveal that the guy was a cop. I thought that was a really good reveal. and it's logical. And you know,
Yeah.
I feel like Callie really came out into her own this season, not this season, but this episode as a character and everything like that. So
Yeah, I'm hoping we get more Jeff because again he hasn't done too much aside from like being the blackmailer. So now that Callie's becoming like a fully fleshed out character, I'm hoping we get a bit more on Jeff as well.
yeah, I think it made sense Jeff was absent this episode just because I feel like
I agree. I'm glad it was mainly focused on Callie. I'm just saying now that we're because like Shauna's family, her husband and daughter, were kind of just there last season.
yeah.
So now I'm hoping the season like fleshes them out more.
Yeah, but that's the end of the YellowJackets episode.
Yeah, I give it an A. Definitely a big improvement from last episode. Again, I really feel like this should have been the premiere. You can take a couple of plot points from last episode and like stuff them in here. Honestly, probably would have been fine.
I agree. I give this an A also. This episode, had a lot of really good surprising moments. I thought all the plots were done very well. We got a lot of big reveals this episode, and yeah, this really was the premiere. So I'm gonna give this episode an A also. So
I agree.
Yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. Thank you guys for watching this video. We're gonna do episodes 3 and 4 over the weekend, and then 5 and 6 next week, and then LVB. And yeah, anything, Putz, you know what? I'm doing it for you. Putz pause. I'll upload something. So,
I was getting ready to wave, but I've been like at wave position for a while now. So we will see you later. There we go. Now I can finally play.
there you go. See you later.